That way you're on. If there's a way to edit, once we adjourn the meeting and cut that off, you could just.
Perfect.
Absolutely. They should be. Because we just were talking sports.
Okay. We're being legal, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just wrong. Nope. Yeah.
The TV?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice football.
The agenda up there, do you have it? Thank you, thank you.
I heard your computer's dead, so I didn't.
I forget. Oh. Mine just froze on when I was opening up the document, the agenda, and it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm not even gonna try to figure it out right now.
Well, that's Lindsay now.
This is Lindsay's one.
Uh,
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. Lindsay's pulling the agenda up here for us. We're gonna call this to order and I'll do the roll call here. Julie Weeks.
Here.
AJ Strumford.
Here.
Joel Newman.
Here.
Russ Turhar.
Here.
Craig Godwin.
Here.
Outstanding. We're gonna kick off right away with the approval of the agenda. Real quick, I wanted to, I'd like to do this if we could. I see some people in the crowd that I know are here for agenda items specifically. Some of those agenda items could be very low or in the middle. If the council's not opposed, if I could just check with the audience to see if they're here for a specific topic. And if they are, then if we can move it to the higher part of the discussions, just for their benefit. Would the council be okay with me checking on that?
Yep.
Fine.
Is someone here, the Sharks? Okay, awesome. So I would like to make the recommendation, we move J to A, J to the top there. Or we have the insurance, put J after A.
Go first.
Okay. Okay. Are you charging us to be here? No. I'm just kidding.
You stay in business.
J goes to A, and then, do we have the 937 Trail Drive? Yeah, okay. Let's move that up as well to, the next one down. So we'll go JKA. Is there another item on the agenda or anybody here? I just recognize those people as there. I think, Roger, we're gonna get you in the presentation section, so you're quite a ways up there. Is there? The only other agenda item would be, Snyder's here, Rich is here. Where's that one at? Is that one we need to move up?
It's on B already.
Okay, perfect. Is there any other ones? No? All right. Perfect. Then I'll take a motion to approve that rearrangement.
Motion to approve. Second.
Perfect. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll open the citizens forum now. Reminder that this is just a public comment opportunity for 3 minutes, capped at 3 minutes. Is there a member of the audience that would like to speak regarding the in the citizens forum tonight? Outstanding. We will move to the consent agenda. This is the opportunity to ask any questions, or if in the need to be to remove any of these items out of there for further discussion, if the council doesn't feel supportive of passing these items or approving these items via the consent agenda. Any specific questions for staff or myself related to the consent agenda items?
Only one on I assume the roundabout over Huxley is gonna divert traffic here. I don't like all the congestion, I don't like the road damage potential, but we don't have a choice, do we?
Wow. They've actually designated Lynn Street or R38 as one of the detour routes. So
That's
that'll
what
be
we-
one of the streets, but we've heard that there may not be as much traffic as what was initially thought, but there would be other routes for people to take other than.
But at the end of the day,
No, we don't have a choice and they don't pay us much. We did follow up with them and
They provide a stipend to use
would you like to know the stipend number? Jerry followed up for
I guess
this
it's
week.
not gonna mean zero.
$1,200.
Yeah.
For the whole project?
For the whole, they'll give $1,200 where we're the detour route. They followed up in conjunction, I think, with Snyder and just continuity on the R38 project to see if there wouldn't be more support from the DOT for that project, knowing that we want to try to accomplish that sooner.
Yeah.
So Jerry did ask
I
that.
guess that's the answer, so there's no point me pontificating about
Nope.
road damage and all those things if the answer is.
There's some items that's for grant money,
Okay,
which will get into that discussion.
That's what I thought. Just want to make sure.
Motion to approve consent agenda items.
Second.
Perfect. Any last discussion on that? All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And any abstention? Presentation reports department, Story County Sheriff's Report, nothing there. Ames, Regional Economic Alliance, Shannon is here. Shannon, the floor is yours. Thank you for being here. Wherever you're comfortable, yeah. We're not too formal.
Well, thank you so much for having me tonight. Here are some flyers if you want to pass those around. So I am Shannon Teely with the Ames Regional Economic Alliance. I'm Vice President of Affiliate Programming. And I lead all of our different workforce development efforts. So I wanted to touch a little bit on some of the programs that we do offer, including our free retraining program. So we've offered this since 2022, and we're going to continue to offer it. It's completely free, and it's exactly what it is. It's retraining. So if there's in your community that would like to, is looking to re-enter into the workforce or possibly looking to get a different career, this is an opportunity for them. So they apply through the Workforce Training Academy through DMAC. DMAC sends them more information, and then they can go get a certificate. So whether that's CNA, sterile processing, phlebotomy, office specialist, IT help desk, CPR, welding. There's so many different opportunities. So please feel free to share that with community members. It's something that we're going to continue to offer for a long time. So in 2022, we've had 45 participants across 5 cities. In 2025, we've had 46 participants across 5 cities. So we've had steady numbers of 2022 through throughout the years. So we're excited to keep offering that. As far as some other workforce development offerings go, we have our Live, Work, Play website. So please feel free to check that out. If someone's new to the community, they can get plugged in. We highlight all of the different community events and offerings. So if there's something that Slater is happening around town, make sure to add that onto our community calendar. We also have our area YP, that's Area Young Professionals. And we really want to get our young people plugged into our community. Do you have any questions as far as workforce development goes from the Ames Alliance?
I don't. Thank you for being here. Thanks for promoting these programs and offering this service.
Those goes throughout the community, and we're going to keep promoting that as much as we can.
Outstanding. Thanks for being here, Shannon. Roger Wheeler.
Yeah, I'm here, I'm with Century 21, representing Homes by Advantage. You'll see at the top of this, I was here a year ago, January 13th of 25, and asked the city to participate with a project with a builder that I represent, that's Homes by Advantage. And the first thing I'd like to do is just review how that went. Certainly hear if there are any concerns from you guys' standpoint. I think just a couple of you, I mean, there's a bunch of new faces here, so. This builder bought the lot over at the corner of 3rd and Benton. And it used to be one old house there that had been torn down. They built 2 new houses. You guys asked us to make it affordable housing. And so we were able to build 2 new construction homes that both did sell for under $300,000, which was the target that you guys gave the builder. 2 new residents there. So the builder feels like that was a very successful project. And I guess I'd like to give you guys the opportunity to tell me if anybody saw anything other than that. We're hoping that everybody was satisfied with that. Any comments about that at all? No, okay.
I think it was a great project.
Yeah.
It looked good. It cleaned up a lot. So
Okay,
before you go to the next phase, anything from the sheriff's office?
No,
Anybody, anything for the sheriff?
third Monday now, permanently, or is this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry.
I know, and
I communicated.
we didn't have update the sheet, so,
Oh,
They reached
okay.
out and I did share that.
yeah, I think I emailed you.
Perfect.
Should be seeing a noticeable increase in patrol talent, right, so
Okay.
it won't reflect on this last one, but this next.
Just due to some additional staffing or just
Uh,
prioritizing it? supporting?
Yeah, just moving numbers around.
Okay,
Per capita, we're seeing some disparities, so it should be seeing an increase.
it's good to hear. Awesome. Well, we appreciate it. We'll let you go so Roger doesn't have to have you staying behind him the whole time he presents.
That wasn't here for me.
Should he be?
Thank you.
Okay, so, second thing then, there is a property in town. Owned by a long-term family here that saw what the builder did. Reached out to the builder and said, hey, would you like to do that with my property? So this is the builder responding to a resident here in town. So we, do now have the property at 411 Benton under contract. That is a property that has been a problem property in town. They've received several letters from you guys saying you have to do something. I went over, worked with another agent, kind of spent some time on the property to see if it was of value that it could be saved, because it is kind of a big historic home.
Yep.
And our professional opinion is probably not. You'd have to put so much money into that and you'd never get the money out. So the builder now does have that property under contract to buy from that family and would like to do the same project they did in 2025 and 26. It's a little bit different because the builder would actually tear the house down this time. If you remember last time, a third party had already done that. You can ignore everything that's written on here. If you would go down to the bottom section, I'd like to review the numbers with you guys. There were two components to the project. Number one was to take a problem property and turn it into a nice property that's performing in town. But the other was, there was an idea that we wanted to try to test out using both TIF and LMI funding to redevelop properties, because the city might have opportunities to do that on a larger scale in the future. I don't know, most of you, I guess, weren't here at that time. You'll remember that the city had some issues. We didn't have Jerry here at that time. And some mistakes were made and TIF was not able to be used. So it ended up using quite a bit of your LMI funds. So we'd like to kind of have a do-over with the city to try that again. So if I can renew the numbers, I stood here a year ago and on behalf of the builder requested up to 60,000 in TIF, up to 40,000 in LMI for a total of 100. The city council at that time said, well, we'll do this. We'll give you up to 50,000 in TIF and 20 in LMI, so a total of 70. And the builder said, okay, that's enough. We can work with that. You guys just approved tonight the final bill from that, and you can see the actual HVA. We were able to find 2 LMI buyers. And so there are LMI residents that moved into those 2 homes. So that meant the city paid the full 20,000 to those buyers, not the builder. The builder didn't spend $50,000 to redevelop. They only spent 34,500, so saved about 16,000 there. So what could have been a $70,000 project ended up being a $54,000 project. And everybody feels good about that, I hope. We do on our side. So this time, we'd like to do a similar thing. The builder is only asking for 30,000, so less. Even though they're tearing down the house, they think they can do a little bit more efficient job than what the people did before. So they're asking for a $30,000 participation from a TIF. And again, we'd like Jerry to oversee this and we would like it to be TIF this time. Not because it makes a difference to the builder. The money is money to the builder. But the desire is to work these processes so that we can look at larger scale stuff in the future. And then the same LMI funding, again, that doesn't matter a whole lot to the builder. It goes to the buyer. And I think it gets the people into town in the housing that you guys said you were looking for. So they're asking for a total of $50,000 participation from the city. Same, if you read all the fine print in the middle and stuff, same structure. You don't pay anything until the builder has performed and there are residents in the properties and everybody's happy and the work was done. I realize it's not on your agenda to approve numbers tonight. And so similar to a year ago, The builder has asked me to show up now. We do have a due diligence period with that family. So if you guys say tonight, we're not interested, go away, then the builder can terminate that contract and 411 Benton can go back to trying to figure out what they want to do with that property. If you guys do what the city council did a year ago and just shake your heads and say, yeah, we'd like to participate. You can see last time the builder asked for 100 grand and the city council said, we'll do a 70. So I'm not standing here tonight saying if you guys don't grant $50,000, the builder's gonna go away. That is their request and they think they're being reasonable. But if you just kind of give an affirmative, we'd like to participate and get that property dealt with, I think that will be enough for the builder to move forward on the purchase. And then maybe then Taylor, you can take the official process to go through to figure out what the numbers will be and how to make this all work well for you guys.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for reporting back. Thanks for a successful project. First off, on the first opportunity. With that said, to the council, there's kind of a question of your feedback. We're not officially approving anything, but maybe just your feedback as to the appetite for.
I have a question on the TIF. Does that operate exactly like a residential TIF would, where it's the incremental tax increase that would go back to the developer?
Yeah, and I think Jerry's pretty good at this. There was an error made last time in that when you do TIF financing in infill projects like this, it has to be set up as what's called slum and blight, which is fairly effective when you're dealing with a house that's this old. But last time it got coded as economic development, so we actually couldn't use any TIF last time. Yes,
Is there a timeline on that then or do you get the full 30,000 over, I mean, it's gonna take a while to get $30,000.
No, I don't think that.
There's a year timeline. It's years, number of years.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
And it
know.
follows the residential.
okay.
And the city was actually the benefactor
Yeah,
of the TIF because we certified the debt of the grant, the grant.
Okay,
so the
Then-
builder's not waiting 10 years. The builder is getting reimbursed for their costs. The city is paying itself back out of TIF.
Over the 10
we're
years.
paying, okay, the builder's not getting.
We're fronting the
TIF.
we're fronting the cash, recovering it through the blighted TIF
Okay.
arrangement on the backside.
Thank you.
Is the way it was, that was the theory at the time. Because we didn't wanna make the investment without a recuperation of those funds if we didn't have to.
It moves the tax base for that piece of ground from $150,000 to probably around $600,000. So it does a pretty good tax bump.
AJ Rush. When I first started, I had no idea what they're talking about. You guys get this or does Jerry need to?
I'm getting that.
Okay.
It is a prominent property, isn't it? It's the one that's right by the park.
Not necessarily right by the park.
It's by the
City
park.
corner from the bank.
The bank.
Northwest of the bank.
One corner from
The house.
right across from the soccer fields. Space,
Where the basketball court used to be.
Yeah,
That's how they
park,
got it. Yeah,
a long time ago,
The dump
Yeah.
ball.
but before my time, I think.
yeah.
The process would actually be the same, because the previous project, it was one house on two
Right.
flag lots, and so they tore the house. Went through a rezoning, changed it from R1 to R3, and built two single-family homes on each lot. And also, I think required variance setback.
Do we have to rezone it or do we just have to split the lots?
It
It needs to be
rezoned.
rezoned to go to R3.
The setback on
Minimum
are
lot.
not workable for affordable housing.
Got it.
50-foot lot.
Okay. All right.
So
So
the
what-
process.
Start this, we're spot zoning R3 then wherever somebody wants to do this in the community.
We've got like 6 examples of that.
Yeah,
And again, it was actually platted for 2 houses. They just whoever purchased,
Somebody put a
they
nice big
purchased
house.
2
in
lots
there.
to build 1 house, which is not uncommon.
I'm good with it.
So what did the 2 houses sell for exactly?
That's on the assessor's site and you can look that up, Alan.
You want me not to?
Go ahead, you can.
One was 300 and one was 290. not easy to build new construction at those prices, so it felt like a good partnership to be able to get those.
And I have another question. The LMI is for low income people? It's
Low to moderate income,
low to moderate income, okay.
they're funds that the city has. Any direction, are you supportive of exploring this and
Yeah, I think it's good.
We should explore that.
are you,
We need some low income housing.
Julie, are you supportive of exploring it?
Yeah, I'm nervous about spot zoning in every neighborhood around the community and where you start and stop fast.
All right,
And Julie, since you were here when we did this a year ago, the original proposal was for a multiplex or something.
yeah, I think you came to that meeting.
Yeah.
I remember you being at that meeting.
Threeplex and we went down to them, yeah.
Yep,
Neighbors definitely were in
favor of that.
Well,
You feel-
moving
We
forward,
supported single family.
Yeah, cause if
Yes.
city council does this, where do you start and stop with different neighborhoods?
Well,
It's a
neighbors-
concern.
the neighbors around it can say when we stop. and Go to, yeah. They can make.
So when we rezone this,
Right.
So,
that's still up to the
Public hearing.
neighborhood if we have,
yeah, they have us, they
We'll
have.
say,
a way to
yep.
reject it.
Yeah, there's a way to reject it with a certain number of responses within a certain
Yep.
radius to the property. Does that provide you
I
feedback?
think so. I hear everybody saying, let's press forward, so I'll work with Jerry and the mayor to figure out what the
Perfect.
appropriate numbers are and look forward to working with you guys again.
Sounds
You, I guess,
Thanks.
Fred, you again,
Thanks.
everybody else.
I mean.
Oh, you were around. Wasn't last time.
I could see that, yep.
Perfect. All right, we'll move to the next presentation. Jerry,
You wanna do insurance?
we're not there, no?
Okay. Want to thank Shannon from the Regional Economic Alliance for being here, Roger with Century 21 who just spoke, Andrew, who's in the queue there. And Geraldine was gonna be here. Looks like we got other representatives from the Sharks, and then Rich with Snyder Associates, who's here to talk about Lynn Street. There was some questions about that project. I did meet with the DOT, Mark and I did, and found out that there really isn't any financial assistance. They did provide some information about grants that we can pursue. They will be providing a stipend when we open our street for the detour. When they do Highway 69 and Highway 210 roundabout in 2028. So that's something that's coming up. I met this morning with the county engineer and the conservation director. There's a couple of grants that we're interested in. One's a STBG grant for the street, and then a TASA grant trail. They would not be the applicant, the city would be the applicant, but they did indicate that they would provide support letters when we're ready to submit grants, if that's supported by the council. And they also provided some information on the other grants that we can apply for the street. But we're pretty supportive of the project, both projects. We received a proposal, I think, over the weekend for 321 Main. That's got to go to the Economic Development Committee for review and a recommendation on that proposal. I think I could probably share that the use would be like a retail market type use in the front, and then other retail use on the north side of the building. And more information will be provided. We start reviewing it.
You were all copied on it too, I think.
Policy and admin evaluated the economic incentive program, provided some really good comments on that. That's going back to the Economic Development Committee for review. So now we have two things to review. And then after the Economic Development Committee gets that, that'll go to the city council for action. You've got some information on recycling from the city of Ames. They chose Aspen. They provided some information on the quote from Aspen on the service that they would provide to the city of Slater. And it's looking like, as far as the information that we've collected, Metro Waste Authority quote is probably the best quote so far with regard to recycling. And then Marshall County, in terms of like the tipping fee, would be the lowest, and per household fee of that. Tomorrow, we're meeting with a couple business owners, on a mobile home food truck ordinance, to get some input from them on the draft, ordinance, and then that'll go to policy and admin committee, before it goes to city council for review and consideration. Public Works staff is working with Snyder and Associates on a issue involving the wastewater treatment plant, the odor issue. City council did approve the change to that project, and so Public Works Director has requested a purchase request for some of the parts that will be needed for that project. And then we did submit the RFP for the comprehensive plan. That's got posted at the Iowa League of Cities website. Deadline is April 10 for submittal. So the idea is that we would have presentations before the city council on the 20th at the city council meeting, with action of this by the city council on the 18th. So it'd be that second meeting,
Is that May?
May 18th. That's what I have. Any questions? Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you.
Questions for Gary? Council updates, any council updates?
It's come.
Yeah.
But I know you want to go first.
I can if you want, or.
No, okay, I copied the council on a couple of questions. One was following up on the TIF that apparently we've been missing collecting the last few years. Obviously, I made suggestions about kind of looking at that farther, since it's a pretty large sum of money. And wondered what the council's thoughts were about that. But we should dig farther into it. Anything we can do about the in arrears. We have to work harder to make sure that we don't have that kind of slippage in the future. Any thoughts from the council?
I think you're right. I mean, it's great that we have it, and we should make sure that we don't neglect if it's possible to get past monies that are.
I believe they required you to fill out an application during that year for a form, right? And we failed to do that in the past.
You have to actually have debt. You have to have public improvements and debt.
Yeah, so I don't know how we could ever go in arrears.
I don't think we can go in.
Fortunately, we missed out on it, but we are now moving forward in a positive way, which I think was great, and we discovered it, so.
Yep, I just got some concern about our partner didn't tell us until this year. If there was previous staff that wasn't.
I don't know if we know, yeah,
That,
we didn't learn about it till this year, you and I
Right.
at least.
Right.
You know, I think one thing that somebody told me once is, you know, the partners can only function based on the guidance and direction given by, you know, the leader or their partner, and I'm afraid maybe that partner was always advised that we don't do that and we're not gonna do that, and that's why we never learned about that. I think you and I both agree that the distribution of information and resources and tools was different in the past than it is today.
yes, absolutely.
And I don't believe we can get it in the rears. I'm confident we can't get it in the rears based on what she said and having the certified debt to be able to file for it and get it.
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident.
Was there anything we could have done this year faster? That was what concerned me.
No, and I think you were at that table with us. I can't remember, you were there when,
Yep.
you asked that question right to her face, and she said, if you can't go through the certifying debt process between now and then to get it, is what she said.
She didn't seem quite as comfortable, and that's why it seemed with the Bible, was it possible or not possible? Then hard wasn't my question, possible.
Yeah, I interpreted that conversation as, you don't have an identified certified debt for it.
Yeah.
And so the filing and the timeline it takes to do that, there's not enough days in the fiscal year to execute it, is the way I understood it.
That was the part I wanted a better explanation from. That's why I said something about doing a root cause. Because it is a lot of money. It's a lot of money a year, and so all in all, maybe 10 years.
And I think we'll have 5 fiscal years to utilize it. I think it's the way it works on the larger portion.
Yeah. And agreed. I just sometimes a rear view look helps you make sure you do better in the future.
I think evaluating the professional financial partner is definitely something that I would hope that, I would guess I would defer punt to staff to make sure that we are. And would be open to recommendations or that, if council feels compelled that we need to do that more aggressively, then I think that direction would be.
That's mostly what I'm looking for is, if there's nothing we can do going backwards, which I have a suspicious answer, no. But evaluating our partner, Lindsay, you and I talked about the 110% rule of how did that slip past? Things like that. Our partners are supposed to be, at least in my opinion, very knowledgeable of those things, so that they know all the rules that we might not know.
Correct.
We're jacks of all trades, not the master. And so I expect our master, our partners to be able to fill in our gaps. And that disappointed me, especially with the magnitude of money involved. So
Yeah.
if there's anything we need to do official, I guess that's fine, but I certainly think we're getting the money's worth out of it. And if they're not supplying that, feedback to us.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's not better ones out there, but it's worth a look.
I don't know that, I'm sure there is, just
I
different.
don't know if there's or not. I don't know how many partners, the opportunities we have.
Yeah.
So,
What was your other? You said you had two?
I think that was it. I merged them together. It was reviewing the partner and was there anything we could do in the rears
Oh, okay.
about the tip that we didn't collect.
Perfect.
Yep.
I sent an email to everybody with a lot of context and documentation. Is there questions about that? I believe at the next school board meeting, the contract will be on the agenda again. I know a school board member reached out to me and we had a conversation and they specifically stated they've made a formal request for it to be an agenda item so they can review it again. But as far as backstory or any of that information I provided, is there any questions related to that?
Question I got is the clause that you were concerned about.
Yes.
We all should have been. Is that or is that not in the contract that's in the school board's hands right now?
It's
That we're effectively the same situation we got with Shell Home, we're locked in for life.
We were in the terms, but here's how this played out is, as I noted in the thing, the contract that got sent to them in October. Back in October 28th, we noted in our council meeting preceding that, and I've gone back and I shared the link to the recording. I've re-listened to it. We were explicitly clear, I think, that the intent was that renewal clause was a joint negotiation exclusively, period, end. We want to renew it, but we want to renew it after a joint conversation.
Year to year.
I explained that the wording, the contract that went to the school board had the old wording in it with an added sentence.
That's why.
That added sentence said it'll be a joint negotiation.
Yeah.
The school board then didn't approve it until January. When they approved it in January, that triggered Jerry to contact me to sign the document. When I saw the document, I looked at the renewal section right away because before I was gonna put my signature on it, I wanted to ensure that it incorporated the council's specific renewal language. It did not. That's what triggered the, hey, this isn't right. It needs to go to the attorney. It went to the attorney and then Jerry sent back to the school board, to the superintendent's board, the revised and explained that the attorney added language, that it was for the current year, and that's then where all the preceding emails come from.
Okay.
It was our error and my error that we didn't catch the renewal language before Jerry sent it to the school board.
Okay, so the contract that they're gonna review next month,
We do not have an existing agreement right now with them.
okay,
We do not have a dual signed agreement.
right,
They signed one and now the revised one has been signed and sent to them.
okay,
But the board the board was not informed about this and it has not seen this revised contract.
okay.
Until this email exchange that occurred.
So still to be determined how this is gonna work out.
I think it's to be determined, but I think in talking with the school board member, they were confident that we can work with it. They're frustrated.
Okay.
But they're confident
Well,
that,
lights are on my way here, so there must be.
the baseball coaches emailed about some field improvement things already, some tarps and different stuff. So we're moving forward, trying to get those things done. We're under the assumption and in good faith that this is a partnership that's gonna be there for as long as we could have it. But I felt compelled as the mayor to not sign an agreement that didn't reflect the renewal language that the previous council approved.
No,
And it's become a bigger deal than it needed to be probably, and
Yep.
maybe I'm at fault for some of that, maybe I'm not. I'm not perfect in this process, but I want that renewal language in there to protect the taxpayers of Slater.
Yeah, 12 years ago, we would have said the same thing about Shell, wasn't that big a deal, but now we understand it better.
Yeah. but I'm hopeful that they'll work there. So I also put in that note two things, the capital improvement item, with the dugouts. Through discussions and if the council wants to move forward with that and just do that, I guess I'm at the end of what I believe is the effective ability to partner and collaborate on the improvements and do them in a manner that meet both standards of the school and the city. So I would say, I held off when that was said last time, like, hold on, I really want to do this in a way that the school's going to appreciate and the baseball team's going to appreciate. I don't know that we'll be able to get to that point. So if we want to improve and fix the older dugouts now, Mark's got a plan and has worked through that. Council, please, when we get to the section in the agenda, take action on that to do that. And then I also notated that we never, and when we set up liaisons, we never officially set up a liaison to the school. I have served as that person. You all have context to that. It might be worthwhile to refresh the relationship in terms of the liaison. And so I would be open to someone from the council to step up and be that role. I'll attend the next school board meeting to ensure our contract gets seen through, but is there anybody that would be interested in stepping up to that role or playing that role for us? Or is that not, does the council feel it's not as much of a necessary and more of an as needed, or that staff should play that role?
Usually I'm willing to put my name on the dotted line, but that one's not. I'm just not a sports guy. Yeah.
It's our entire relationship. Well, would it be appropriate for staff just to have that role? To be our staff with their staff?
Just to represent, I think, or to at least be in a regular, to ensure that we're.
I don't need to make you go to one meeting, but.
It can be in whatever capacity you think, and if you want to think on it, think on it. We'll talk about it next meeting, but. If we need that liaison, we have the liaisons with our boards and commissions.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of shared facilities with the school that are mostly our facilities that are shared with them. But we do, and so if that's something we need to do, please think on it and let's at the next meeting take an action on it if we need to.
Am I imagining it, but where did I see or hear that, there was some consideration that they might be looking forward to building a field out in Huxley?
I've been told that by board members and by staff in those emails. I think that they are beginning a capital improve. There will be a session this summer where they do capital planning again. That is a higher priority for them to have a joint facility or at least their owned field. And that time period is like, Danny has done a nice job of producing a timeline document that shows what occurs when these things will happen. And in that, I believe the bonding capacity becomes available in like the fiscal year 29 is when it could bond for a facility. So I think at a minimum, our partnership exists to that time period. It was my objective to extend that beyond that period and create a tax-friendly solution that reduce the need for that facility, but
We still have a few years to do that.
we still have a few years to try to do that.
Taylor, I don't think you were looking for a resolution or anything, but I fully support where you're standing on. We don't want an unlimited contract that they control. So whatever stance you have to take to get to the contract that we wanted to have instead of maybe having something inadvertently.
Yeah, and we advertently made that mistake, and you guys have the information related to that, and I'll own that, but
So I don't know where the rest of the council stands, but I certainly stand behind
thank you.
getting the contract that we want.
All right. Those are the only updates I have. I think you guys are aware of everything else going on. Jerry does a good job through the reporting, so. Anything else? All right, public hearings. We're gonna get some public hearings going quick. Public hearing for ordinance 317, amending C1, C2, and M1 zoning district uses. We've already gone through this. Let's open the public hearing here at 6:38 PM. We'll do that with a roll call.
Julie Weeks.
Here.
AJ Strumfer.
Here.
Joel Newman.
Here.
Russ Turhart.
Here.
Craig Conley.
Here,
Public hearing's open. Is there any individual in the room that would like to speak in the public hearing relating to ordinance 317? Did we receive any written comments related to the ordinance 317?
No.
Hearing no one in the crowd and knowing that we've received no written notices, we'll close that public hearing at 6:39. And we will go back into our regular session with a roll call.
Julie Weeks.
Here.
AJ Strumper.
Here.
Joel Newman. Russ Turhart. Craig Conley.
Here,
I'd ask the council now to consider a motion to approve that ordinance. The first consideration of that ordinance.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any more other discussion? All those in favor?
minor.
Yeah.
Not a big deal, but on the bottom of the first page, it says we're excluding, removing the language for the greenhouse and nurseries and the basements and things in the bold. I guess I don't really feel strong either way, but I'm not sure why we would remove these things.
It's there in the downtown is C1, and that's where we're gonna have a basement. We've got a nursery already. C1.
This just allows a seat. In seat, right?
Yeah, we're
I think-
moving them from C2 because the bakery is gonna be in the C1 district.
Okay,
And you've got a nursery by the grocery store existing, so that makes that
so it,
a legal use.
okay, I didn't know we could exclude another business or that if somebody wanted to be.
It's just allowing that use to be
It's-
permitted use. in-
it's moving it. My interpretation and understanding is it's moving it from one zoning category to a different category and then removing it from the one we're moving it from. Right. Right.
Yeah, because then the.
So we're not eliminating
C1
that.
uses.
We're just designating the area. And so instead of having, it would be what's the repetitive to have the same uses in multiple zoning categories. So I think all he's doing is,
Zoning categories usually include those that are less than them in that same category, right?
Okay,
Yeah, it's hierarchical,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
in a C2, all the C1.
it's
uses-
all
Oh,
C1
alright.
plus C2.
I didn't get it, I thought they were separate, okay.
I got a first and I got a second. All those in favor, in the first consideration of the ordinance signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed and any abstentions? We have one more public hearing here tonight, I believe. That public hearing is in relationship to the rezoning request for Trevor Howell at 201 North Carroll. It's 6:41. We'll open the public hearing with a roll call.
Julie Weeks.
Here.
AJ Strumper.
Here.
Joel Newman.
Here.
Russ Turhart.
Here.
Craig Conley.
Here,
Awesome. The public hearing is now open. Is there any individual in the crowd that wishes to speak in the public hearing related to the rezoning at 201 North Carroll? Has there been any written notices provided to the city relating to the rezoning at 201? You kind of want to see the clock turn at least one number before you close the hearing, for the record keeping sake. So we will go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:42 PM. And we'll go back into our regular session with a roll call.
Julie Weeks.
Yes.
AJ Strumper.
here,
Joel Newman.
Still here.
Russ Turhart.
Here.
Craig Conley.
here.
Discussion and consideration of ordinance 318 rezoning request for Trevor Howell at 201 North Carroll.
I need to understand better, because I'm a little concerned about adding a residential right there amongst what's seemingly fairly convertible co-op with not knowing what's happening, more oil, we're changing one lot, not the other. It's where the bike path, if they've ever, they want to connect the two bike paths directly on the rail. I'm not sure I understand, and I'm not good on zoning, but I'm looking for somebody else's input as to whether putting one house out there in kind of a lone location seemed a little odd.
It's not really in a lone location.
It's adjacent to
mine.
Right, but you're kind of the start of that, now we're moving that progressively south, I guess. So I didn't know how far we want to move that towards the co-op, towards whatever's gonna happen with
There's still a house. There's still.
with Thorwald's farm, Bilbo's.
It's probably a better use than, because it's M1 industrial, so any use that's permitted in the industrial district could go there. And you've got single family residential to the north. And potentially to the northeast, you could be looking at single family housing in that area on the north side of the.
On north side first, but what are those right now? Isn't that
I
still,
think it cuts.
commercial also was 3 building?
You're talking about the east.
Yeah,
First,
directly east. Right on.
Actually, when we look at the comp plan, that's an area that I think we need to have like consultants and the public weigh in on to see if that's the best use for that particular area where we've got like storage buildings in that location. Because adjacent to that, south of that or east of that, you've got existing single family residential, so When
That's
we
what I
get to
mean,
the comp plan, it's probably.
You guys hold on. Are you guys
I
still looking it up?
I could understand.
I wanna make sure we're
Right
not
now,
missing any
seeing
comments.
With the three buildings that are there with more oil to the south. And with, March Triangle, that's, I assume, commercial.
Well, we're probably gonna see more changes along the east side of the
Agreed,
trail.
but I'd rather have it.
Some
have it-
recent activity of
Yeah.
moving of businesses to the industrial park.
And agree,
So-
but until that's happened, it seemed odd, at least to me. I know more about farms and residential, but it seemed weird to me to put one right in the middle of something you might regret later.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
It's adjacent to existing residential uses, so it's
Yeah.
more consistent than to have an
And
industrial.
it backs up to eventually the sports park and everything.
The city actually owns a section there.
Yeah.
On the trail right away. I think it makes sense just from the adjacence factor that it's the north. I didn't think about what you were saying, it's a one industrial lot sandwiched in between commercial and residential. Is that what you're saying, Jerry?
I wasn't saying that. I was.
You're saying this is
Single
industrial,
Family. we're
but this
probably
is commercial.
right now,
The
but I think.
co-op is
when we do the
industrial.
Comp plan, we need to look at this, because we've got residential right here,
Okay.
and this is all gonna likely change.
And I think I'm just hearing Craig say, then should we before it gets rezoned, should we look at it at the same time that gets looked at?
Right,
The landowner approached you, their intent is to build a home,
Single
single
family
family
home.
home there. Okay,
And if they go to the planning and zoning commission and they reviewed it and
Yep.
recommend that it be approved.
that's, I believe that's where more oil's at, that's. what we used to-
right in that little
Behind,
section.
no more oil's still there. It's
That's,
behind that.
that's still commercial, right?
No, it's
It's probably
M-
industrial.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Industrial.
and those three. have them,
Industrial.
and that's Mark Triangle. Yeah, where the two bike trails connect. And so, yeah, Julie's house is up there. But that's kind of the start of residential now.
Well, we just moved the start of it 300 feet south. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
About
there's
81,
nothing in between it and anything.
105 feet is the length of that one. Yep,
It's like 3/4 of an acre.
I hear Craig's concerns. The planning and zoning approved all of this. In the role that they play, I would suggest, that we get a motion from somebody as to what they want to do related to
This
this.
was a request for an easement for the sewer on that. Is that gonna come later? If it goes to a gravity sewer?
Yeah, there's actually sewer in front of it.
Right, but that's on a
Like a
force
2 inch, but there's also like a 12 inch to the west. And so that was part of the condition that
Okay.
if he wants to tap into the 12 inch, that he actually get a easement.
main. Didn't know if that was gonna affect anything with how we vote now.
And so the easement would be like on the north side of the trail, right?
Just didn't know if we need to make note of that at all
Do you have
That's
concerns
part
or
of the
thoughts related to it?
condition.
specifically.
Okay. Cool.
Make a motion, we, approve. Is this the first one?
This is 318, discussion and consideration of
Where's the first reading?
Yeah, yeah.
Motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 318.
With a condition on the sewer.
Yeah, yep, add that to it, yeah,
Second.
for my buddy here.
Seconded. Any last discussion for the vote? All those in favor signify with aye.
Alright,
Opposed? Greg is opposed. And nobody abstaining. We're gonna move now down into the ordinance and resolutions, discussion and third consideration of ordinance number 313, adopting the new water and sewer rate increases. We're doing this the third time. We specifically did all three readings to avoid any waiving of that because this is such a sensitive topic. As residents, we all appreciate that. Is there any discussion or consideration from the council related to this?
Can I
speak
at some point in time?
During the citizens forum, do you have a quick comment, Ellen, or do you have a speech?
Couple minutes, 3 minutes.
I would
Whatever
have,
that be.
that would have been the citizens forum, Ellen. do you want to share briefly what can you keep it short? I'm being courteous. I'm gonna be courteous because you didn't speak in the citizens forum. If you could share briefly what your comments are, it'd be appreciated if you were concise with your comments since you missed the citizens forum.
Okay, well, one thing is that it would be nice if you could see it on the screen so we'd understand exactly what it is. But the issue is we have new council members here. And the thorn in my side, out on the fourplex next door, is I get charged for 4 meters. I have 1 meter, I have a master meter. We've got new council members here now too, and I wonder if you want to, I guess, have some sympathy for me for whatever, but my water bill is almost $400 a month over there. And I've checked with the League of Cities, and when I ask them, they'll say, no way you can charge people for meters they don't have. If you've got a master meter and that serves your facility, that's it. You can't charge them for 3 other ones. There's about, I don't know, 80 meters in this town that don't exist. 80 meters. And it was low hanging fruit. The council just said, man, we can do this and we don't have to any more effort at all. We don't have to establish accounts for all these people. We don't have to repair the meters for all these people. We could just get the money.
Yep.
And so they did it, and it's been 10 years ago now. And the League of Cities saying you can't do it. And I don't know, are you gonna have?
I appreciate that, Alan. You have been here, you have been a part of these discussions. Our legal approved that back when that was an ordinance, then that was put in place and that wording was done. The council members that were seated at this table with our attorney at the time vetted that language and approved that language, Alan. I know you disagree with it. I have not given this new council the opportunity to change that. We can look at that, Alan, but we did give the last council, who was a very tenured council, the opportunity to change what you're speaking to, and they declined to do so. And we have that, we wouldn't pass things that haven't been legally vetted. And so we trust that the council and prior legal have vetted those things, and that's where we got to where we're at. And I know that you don't like that and don't think it's fair. I think we're mutually respectful. I'm trying to be mutually respectful. The real topic here is the water rates and sewer rates. I understand yours has to do with the charge related to a connection fee or that. Understand, we've heard that one. Appreciate it. All these individuals' contact information is available on the website. You're welcome to contact them all individually to talk about that or educate them. But for this time, there's a lot of people in this room, and for the respect of all their time, and that being a little more off topic, we're gonna move on. Okay?
Okay, so as far as this goes, I'd say we'd go ahead and pass it, but will you give me some time?
We're gonna,
You folks, that.
all you gotta do is reach out. Our contact information is available. Reach out to all of us, request the time, Alan. We're pretty giving most people with their time to hear from residents or taxpayers. So I would ask you to reach out to him outside of the council meeting or after the meeting. Please feel free to reach out. But we're gonna move on, Alan. Okay, I'll take
A motion to approve the third consideration of ordinance number 313.
and this is the final.
Yep.
Second.
Any final discussion?
One quick one, Lindsay, you and I talked about the 110% rule. This gets within compliance of that, so if anybody else was paying attention, I think that was a conversation we had publicly. So we are within compliance with that rule.
Appreciate your attention to that and helping us get in compliance with it, Greg. We have both motions. All those in favor signify with this. It's an ordinance. We will actually have to do a roll call vote.
Julie Weeks,
Yes.
AJ Strumper,
Yes.
Joel Newman,
Aye.
Russ Turhart,
Yeah.
Craig Conley.
Aye, right.
Discussion and first consideration of ordinance 315, adopting peddlers solicitation regulations. I'm sure somebody in town got their door knocked on by the solar company this weekend, who probably did not have a peddler's permit.
Oh, I did not.
You already have solar.
Huh? Yeah, not when you already have it. Yeah. They stop at my house, I guess. Any discussion related to that?
That's really good.
Concerns or discussion related to that? All right, I'll take the motion then.
Look. Second.
Okay, any final discussion? All those in favor of the first reading of 315 adopting peddlers and solicitation regulations signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and nobody's abstaining. Discussion and second consideration amending ordinance 316, duties, role of city administrator, city clerk, mayor pro tem, and city council. I would ask in this circumstance, due to the topic, that we consider waiving waiving the second and conducting the third tonight, unless there's a petition against that.
So moved.
Second.
Final discussion related to this, cleaning up some language on ordinance 316. All those in favor with the, please to waive the second and do the third. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Actually, it's an ordinance, so all those in favor, please roll call vote it.
Julie Weeks,
Aye.
AJ Schrumpfer,
Yes.
Joel Newman,
Aye.
Russ Turhart,
Aye.
Craig Conley.
Aye.
Sorry, everybody.
No, fine.
Discussion and consideration of EMC insurance. We rearranged that. We're gonna go to letter J right now. And that is discussion and consideration of Sharks contract for use of Slater Pool for 2026 season. The Sharks representatives are here. Thank you for being here. Did you have any comments or anything related to the contract, or just present to hear the contract?
Questions on the contract. I know Geraldine has been talking about is that some of the person at meetings as well, and they and everything. We came to an agreement of $2,500, or keeping that $2,500 fee. But that would also include 2 Wednesday night clinics. We talked to you guys about that, and then after discussion with our board, we had decided maybe it would be better to have that, instead of doing the 2 Wednesday night clinics, include our inter-squad meet. So do away with the clinics and include that instead of, because I think they were gonna charge us that separate. Then that's $2,500.
Council?
I guess I'm concerned with the money we're already losing. If you add us to that. Is additional cost, extending the pool hours from.
So
9
this,
to 5 to 7.
so the thing would be, so on Wednesday nights, you guys were already gonna give us from 7:15
Understood.
to, so if we combine those into one night of a Wednesday night and included our inter squad meet, really, it's kind of the same thing, of a trade-off is what we were thinking in our heads, I guess, anyways.
Yep. And I was referring to just the 2 nights, I was referring to the $2,500 in general.
Yeah.
If we treat it as pool parties, it'd be, I think. $8,500. So. The original idea was when there's Slater kids, a lot of Ballard kids, but I don't think that's preponderance of the club anymore. And so. You guys, to me, I'm trying to watch out for Slater's taxpayers. So not a huge amount of money by any means. So.
I think of this, from my perspective, as a programming at the pool. I know we don't take it in-house, or we don't own it in-house. I think we don't operate it in-house because we don't have the staff to operate it in-house. I think of it as a good programming thing, and I think if we start to think about cost benefit analysis on a programming based thing, then we have other departments where we want to analyze programming and the cost benefit analysis, financial.
Agreed. But
So
that's my concern about not bringing me Slater or Ballard to it.
And I think that's the same, the can of worm that I think it opens is like our library programming, summer programming that extends well beyond the city of Slater. That's a free program, but the library loses money as well in terms of the financial view. So it's just, do we want to go into the precedent of, is it financially beneficial in the programming perspective to continue it or not continue it? It's a valid point, and I don't want you to think that it's not, because I agree, these are the things we wrestle with, but I mean, this is like pool programming. Ballard kids are welcome to participate at the same rate of participation as others, the same way the library program's set up, I think. So I feel like that opens something up that.
Yeah. Well, we don't charge for anything for the library, we do charge for the pool.
For private parties.
No, we charge all of the day passes and all the other things.
Oh,
Pool use is for a fee.
You guys,
It's kind of an apples and oranges comparison to the library. The library is 100% free, I think.
do you guys have the numbers on like how many kids from Slater are participating in the program?
We've actually we only have it for Ballard and North Pole kids. Those are the two, because the board has kind of transformed, and it wasn't a choice. It was just the fact that more North Pole kids started signing up or getting involved, and then the board was primarily North Polk families. But at this point, we have closed it to only Ballard and North Polk kids or returning swimmers. So, it's just the fact that we don't have the numbers from Slater as we have in the past, because some of them will go to to Ames. There's some AC kids that swim. Ballard Sharks has just been a really great entry level program for kids that just want to swim. So we've tried to keep costs low. Last year was the first year that we just would make a donation back to the city in previous years. Happy to pay for it, obviously, but not $8,000 for sure. Cause that wouldn't make sense. But we did offer it up last year. If you guys would want to take it over, it's a parent board. You know, we just hire coaches. We definitely aren't making money. So, it's just trying to come up with what we think is fair. Yeah, like we talked with Taylor last year, it's totally programming. I mean, it's just like having access to it, and if we get an inter squad rather than doing the Wednesday night clinics, great. Or if we have to rent it, that's something we can take back to our board. But it is really nice for those like little 6-year-old swimmers to like get an idea of, okay, what are these numbers on my arm and how do I line up, and just to get them a rough idea of what a meet looks like. Cause a lot of these kids, it is their very first time swimming in a swim meet.
So when you say swim meet, that means parents will come and watch and all those things. So it's different than a clinic where parents are dropping off and stuff. So what I would advise our staff do is make sure our concession stands open that night. Make sure we know those nights, make sure we have the concessions open and ready to go for them. Just saying, I mean, they're gonna need popcorn and stuff, and let's go.
Yeah.
To make a couple bucks.
Yeah.
So.
Joel, Craig, I've heard from you guys.
We have a pool, we lose money, but why not have programming? So some of the kids in the area can use it, makes sense to me.
Could drive more interest to the pool. Outside of Sharks programming.
That's true.
That's the thing I hear most is we don't have enough stuff for seniors. They'd really like to have a window where they don't need to share their bodies with kids.
Yeah.
That's one thing we're living on, the senior hours.
And I think we've had, though, I don't know in the pool feedback, we've had senior hours and 1 or 2 people consistently participate, but there's not a mass participation.
Yeah,
Some of that
That was the ungodly earlier.
Some of that is timing and such, but
It's not as early as it used to be now. They'll have quarter schedule this year.
yeah.
Right, it's like 9.
It's 9 o'clock now, right, this coming year?
8 to 9, it's late, it's, yeah.
I'm seeking a motion on whichever direction the council feels compelled.
I'll make a motion. Move forward.
And they've asked for a pivot on the inter squad
Yeah.
to 1, and you're
We go for the,
For 2,500.
for 2,500.
second from Russ. Final discussion opportunity before the vote. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay. Any
abstentions? Outstanding. We'll keep moving along here. We did then pivot up after J. We pivot up our gentleman down here, K, which is discussion consideration of rejection of sidewalk installation requirement at 937 Trail Drive. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here. Jerry, I think you provided some information related to this.
Copy of the letter in there that we sent.
Yep, and the response.
Actually, the end of the year in the fall, asking the property owner to install the rest of the sidewalk extension from the corner, the northeast corner of the lot to the south, so that it could be extended from there, as that as that area develops. We received comment back from the property owner who is here, that he did not think that was for him to have to do that. He is a fairly new owner to the property, and it's a particular situation where a certificate of occupancy was issued and the building was completed, but in this case, the sidewalk was not completed, so. I think the issue is, you know, is there. And the request was to have that completed sometime this year. Does the council feel that that's reasonable, fair, or is there a compromise possibly in this particular situation? We actually sent out, I think, 4 letters to 4 different policy meant to finish the installation of the sidewalk as it showed on the subdivision plot.
My concern, I guess, is the precedent of, there's a lot of places in this town that don't have sidewalks. I don't know when the codes changed, I don't know what things are grandfathered in. So, I mean, just looking at Beacon, the sidewalk right across from that was not there either. So right across the street isn't there, so it seems like maybe we need to address this in a bigger
It's there,
process and picking one.
it's there now, I believe.
Yeah, the house was
Is it
constructed in
on the
20
east
Of this portion.
yeah, constructed in
Fairly
2018.
Yeah, they did it. In the last, like, actually,
Do you just,
the
do
winters happened.
you want to just stand up and just introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are? Good to meet you.
Well, we bought the place like 2 years ago, but you're talking about the straight east. They put it in before the letters were actually sent out.
Okay,
Am I allowed to talk a little?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I mean, the reason why I'm kind of injecting this, I understand sidewalks from nice and everything like that is, we bought the place like 2 years ago. And the house is built in 2012, and the place is directly south for us, which would connect it to it, was built in 2018. So you guys had like from time, I know you had, everyone's new, mostly anyway, and then you guys had from 2012 to 2024 for the last homeowner that made them put it in. And also, I called before I even bought the house, and asked them at the time, because I would have just had the other homeowner put it in. And they said at that time that we are not obligated to put one in. So, because I asked that before I even, whoever the city administration person was too was doing, but. And they were not aware of that at that time, so. And then, okay, go ahead, and then like you were talking about earlier, you know, I drive through town and to the swimming pool, there's no sidewalk to go, to the swimming pool that way, or like, I would say about half the town doesn't have sidewalks, so.
Yeah.
Just from observation, I mean, I don't know the exact miles or anything.
The sidewalk to the south of his property was probably constructed, what, 2020-ish?
By the developer, probably when they developed that.
2018.
2018 was-
2018.
Usually
they
it's
put that in.
Okay, so 2008.
It should have been put in 2018.
Yeah, the notice should have been sent in 2018 when that property was constructed.
Correct. As a continuation.
Here's my thought process. This is a can that has been kicked down the road regarding sidewalks and the city's policy related to sidewalk requirements. That can has always been kicked down the road because nobody's willing to deal with it. I think at this moment to go enforce that without establishing what our standards and expectations are for the locations that are missing sidewalks throughout the city. It would maybe be premature to start one-off determining what the requirement is where it was not required in the initial construction process. If the council feels, so I would think that we should do better due diligence related to what we want to do from a citywide sidewalk perspective before we address one-offs. And so if the council feels compelled, I would say it makes sense to me to not force this new sidewalk. But if the council is compelled to put on the agenda and have some research conducted regarding what we should be doing, what surrounding towns of our size, what different policies are out there, then we should take that on. If we don't want to deal with it, then we just don't deal with it and we can be another name on the chart that kicked the can. That's my opinion.
Be a priority. I think sidewalk, it's important that we figure out what we're doing. It is everywhere. I see that it's very spotty in areas and there's a greater sidewalk issue than just this, and to single out and, you know, sort of punish certain people and not others doesn't seem right.
expand the scope, but we also got a lot of them
Need repair.
that, yeah,
Very much.
they're pretty rough.
I think though, maybe what the action is, it's not to like guarantee or document that there's a rejection, it doesn't need to be done, but more of a, we're gonna agree that it doesn't need to be done today. But we're not guaranteeing that there won't be a day that it needs to be done.
I feel strongly that those sidewalks have to be put in. I mean, it's a safety concern. And the developer, I mean, it should have been put in a long time ago.
Right.
And I don't know who you wanna blame, but that makes it hard to, who's gonna pay for it now? And I don't have the answer to either one of us. But I do think we have to take a look at it, because we can't continue to ignore, especially in the development where there are sidewalks on each side of it. I mean, we might have a whole city block that doesn't have one on one side, but in the new developments where we're making somebody walk along the street and then we're forcing them to go into the road and then come back on the sidewalk. I think that's inappropriate for the
Yeah, we
city to
have
have.
Yeah, I think our staff needs to do some research for us, please, on what other cities do with sidewalks. Figure it out, get it figured out.
We have to figure it out.
You're talking citywide, right?
Yep, citywide,
Yeah.
which means we'll probably have to do something eventually, but so will we. I mean, well, I did, but.
We'll have to figure out
We'll have to figure it out.
what our role is in that, or if there is a role for us.
Right, yes,
I support that, but yeah, we just,
So give me that motion then, Joel. Effectively, do you want to make a motion to direct staff to look into the citywide and to table the specific incident?
right, Jerry likes motion, sorry.
Yes, I do.
Right, a
Yeah,
motion to
whatever
look
you
into
do
the
with that, I
sidewalk.
make that motion, I agree with you.
But to table today's request from the address of 937 Trail Drive.
Right, yeah,
Tabling it. We're not saying yes or no. We're just tabling it till we get further information.
yeah, for more citywide broad scope. Yep,
Can I ask for just a point of order question, if either of you know? If we take the action to table this issue, does that mean we have to have it on every agenda moving forward
No, not,
from a policy
as
standard?
soon as we get the information, then we'll put it back on the agenda.
Correct. Okay, all right.
that's part of that investigation. This is one of the motion, but. Can LMI be used on sidewalk?
So.
Might be worth looking into, I have no idea.
Possibly.
But it has to benefit.
Yeah,
That's
it's got,
benefit
it's
low
got
health,
certain
certain
guidelines.
There's certain
I have no
guidelines,
I
idea.
think it can be used in certain areas.
Would make sense.
but I would definitely use
It's not
that.
gonna work on school.
We've got a motion. I need a second on that from Craig. Final discussion opportunity. All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed? And any abstentions? Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Craig. Okay, so we did JK and now are we finally to
Hey,
A?
Insurance.
yay.
I know you have a presentation. Do you guys want to hear the presentation?
It's brief.
Not to cut,
It's brief.
okay, go ahead then. All right, all right,
We talked.
all right. Thank you for waiting, Andrew. I didn't mean to.
Oh, you're good. Andrew Rickliffs, again, Gallagher, your insurance partner, Craig, I heard the term partner, so we're a partner. We spent a lot of time on the renewal with Mark, Jerry, Lindsay. We've been there numerous times. We've got it kind of buttoned up. We feel very confident where it's sitting from both a coverage and a pricing standpoint. I sent through a document early on. You guys should have all that in your packet with regards to all the details. I am not gonna go over those details. What I'm really gonna hit on is just briefly the last page. The last page has the premiums as well as some of the changes that we made in the renewal this year. So overall, we were very pleased with EMC Insurance. It came in about $1,000 under last year. EMC did take about a 5% increase in their program overall, but we were able to negotiate some changes and some pricing differences to get that down. The major changes we made in the renewal this year, I mentioned this last month when I was here. We went through all the building limits. We spent a lot of time with Mark driving around. We ended up adding about $2 million in building and contents. Just either missing coverages, lower limits, not enough contents at certain locations. So again, we did add about $2 million in coverage. We updated all the equipment schedules. Again, we'll be grateful to with Mark on that. We were able to add replacement costs on all the fire trucks that are 20 years or newer, that was not previously on the policy. Did increase the property deductible for all claims that are non-wind hail related. The previous deductible was 2,500. We increased it to $10,000. Looking at your claims history over the past 10 years, it made all the sense in the world to increase that, and it saved about $7,000. So that's where a lot of your savings was coming in on a renewal as well. But again, that saved about $7,000, and we increased that from 2,500 to $10,000 in the property deductible. We increased your umbrella limit from 1 million to 3 million. A $1 million limit for what exposure you have is way too small. So again, we discussed all sorts of limits and options. And it was agreed upon to go to a $3 million limit from a 1 million. And we also increased your cyber liability limit from 1 million to 2 million. So again, increased cyber limits, increased umbrella limit, increased property deductible, increased your property limits by $2 million. And then again, about 1% decrease in overall premiums. So
Great job.
I flew through that very quickly because Jerry said be brief. I was very brief, Jerry.
You did good.
Any questions on the document that was sent out or any questions on the renewal price?
I have one. First,
Yep.
can we count on 1% reduction annually moving forward? And then secondly, the next question is, I noticed on the documents that there's two entities on there that are named insureds. There's the Firefighters Association, there's the Emergency EMS Association. Help me understand why we would have them as named insureds on the city's policy when they have no connection to the city.
So we discussed that at length. First of all, there's no additional charge for that. So I'll throw that out there. By taking them off, there is no change in your premiums at all. They've always been on the policy and we've asked kind of I don't know if they have coverage elsewhere. I know that was discussed with Mark at length. But it was just listed on there just for additional coverage.
Chad, that'd be you. You know,
We don't have insurance. We don't have insurance.
there you go.
So-
Is it for our coverage as responders for any type of claim that comes against a first responder? Or is it,
Yes,
because these are our 501c3 aspects of these. I mean, if we're technically a pseudo employee of the city. So.
Will they be covered in their act as an EMS provider underneath the city of Slater? Not their 501c3.
If they're 501c3, like any event.
coverage elsewhere for them. I mean, other than the only coverage that we picked up right now would be through this policy. What I just heard, there's no coverage elsewhere.
But the 501c3 is a fundraising, monetary, third-party fundraising entity.
What would you be covering for our associations if somebody trips at the fire station, would that be liability on the city anyway? It wouldn't necessarily be.
That's what I'm struggling with, because the situation I'm struggling with is those associations, not ours, knock on wood. We're covering potential financial crimes that could occur inside of those organizations underneath the city, but they have no relationship, no oversight, no governance by the city.
My recommendation then would be if you want to take them off, so let's do it. It's not, again, no issue, but then we need to probably have some sort of separate policy in place for them as a separate nonprofit organization.
But that's not really our problem, right? Because they operate independently and we don't give money to them. They give money to the city, but I don't know, it just caught my attention and maybe it's no big deal and it's no small thing, but.
Is it because we invest our 501c3 money into assets and stuff and cover things for the matching stuff with the city? I don't know. I don't know. This was one of the first things I
There's no change in anything policy wise, probably kick it out.
Because if someone from one of the associations embezzled $100,000, they could file an insurance claim against the city, which could drive the insurance rates up for the city because of crime and lack of oversight. And it would be like, we're commingling. Where do you draw the line then? Because should community club be listed underneath the city of Slaters?
Well, thanks.
You see, I'm just wondering where that ever started and why that was that way. And maybe there was a reason back then. And if council's comfortable with it, I don't care really. I just wanted to ask the question because I don't understand it.
If you have no oversight, I mean, again, from your insurance guy, if you have no oversight over it, it shouldn't be. I mean, really what you guys should be ensuring is what the council has full oversight. Unless there's just a goodwill factor here that you want to do that, but again, it's open up the can of worms and where does that end? And so again, right now, they have access to your full policy limits, everything else, they're on the policy.
So just for clarity, when Chad or AJ is working on fire or an EMS call, they're still covered regardless of what that name's on it.
That's part of the city of Slate.
Right, that's the city.
That's
Right.
This is just
Just the
the
association.
503 scheme.
Yep.
Yes, if that, Taylor, I had the same concerns of, there's a liability there that we have no control over.
I'm not-
So the association, I don't think should be on here. The volunteer should be, but not the association.
Well, volunteers will be technically employees of the city and all that.
It's just a thought. I don't really care if we don't even want to take action, or we can always remove them later.
And then,
We did
So if
remove
we have
one,
an
didn't
event-
we? Which one did we?
The insurance.
remove?
Friends of the library.
Friends, I'll say friends of
Friends of the
I
library.
knew it was friends.
If you have an event in the city of Slater on city of Slater property, we're inheriting that liability. And we should be using a contract to subrogate that back to you, which we're not gonna do because you're a 501(c)(3) fundraising money for a city event entity. It is my opinion from an insurance lens.
Is there I mean, you guys doing separate fundraising then through that association? Is there fun?
They do all their own stuff.
That all that is monetary, I mean, that money rolls through a separate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I definitely would look at just having something.
Does the city have to have directors and officers coverage? Do we have?
Built into your-
It's built in. So that coverage carries over to those individuals. So the other factor there is just if the board made a bad decision that ended up ruining the association or costing a bunch of money. A claimant could sue the officers of those boards. And we would have to defend them through our policy. Have seen this same thing happen.
So I don't believe.
So it's just a question.
Those are also set up, or you always say were created by the city, by ordinance, so,
Of your 501(c)(3)s?
well, they're the one and the same. I mean, how our board is run, and I'm sure you guys are too.
There's an
Our
ordinance
officers
for
are
EMS,
officers
is
of our
what he's
board
talking
as well as.
Cities carry. Do other cities have these organizations listed on their policy?
I will have to do some research on cities of your size. I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't
We
know.
did.
Gilbert is, all I know is I can speak on, if you have Ames of Gilbert, I would say no. But again, that's a small sample size.
We can always, again, I just want to bring it up. We can always remove them at any point that we choose. So we can approve we're good to go here, or approve if we need to approve this. And we can staff just vet, if we want to be very cautious about before we remove them, trying to better understand why or how, I'm fine with that. It was odd to me because of the separation between those entities in the city of Slater.
And my guess, it's been that way for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's just been that.
It's
way
history.
time. I will also say, I forgot to mention, your renewal date is April 1st. We are gonna be changing that to July 1. So we are gonna have that concurrent with your actual,
Right.
so that'll, what,
But we have to pay the full premium. And then we'll get a credit. And then we'll have to pay it again.
yeah.
July what?
Do it.
I was thinking,
Issue a 12-month policy, cancel that, and issue another. So that's the easiest, it sounds kind of the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. And they're on board with the pricing and all that, not adjusting when we do that transaction.
We confirm that.
Okay, thank you.
Pricing will not change. Well. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot could happen in 3 months. But
But
no,
we won't cancel it if we see that coming.
correct.
All right.
Any other questions on the insurance at all?
No, thank you.
Hey, thank you. And again, Lindsay, Jerry, Mark, thank you guys. Really appreciate all your help on this.
thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll do
Do you need a motion to accept the renewal
Need a motion, please.
and the cancel rewrite to line up dates? You
Mhm.
need that?
Yep.
Okay,
You can
there's
get
the
all of
motion.
We accept this
Nothing for
Everything.
association.
into the fiscal year, then cancel it. The issue.
Motion.
Yes. Sorry, I thought I started that move.
All those any final discussion? All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And any abstentions? Okay. B,
Thank you to you two and.
yes, good job.
Something then.
Thanks for hanging around too. I know we're entertaining.
Lynn Street R38 project update. Rich is here. He's provided some updated documents. Has the council had the chance to look at those? Any questions related to what he has provided us on that?
I have a question. Are we giving up? Are we saying that we want to do the turn lanes and not the roundabout?
That's a question to be answered
Yeah,
tonight.
That's what's one of the things that's before the council. What do you see there? Do you see a roundabout or a turning lanes at Main and State Street?
I don't understand how turning lanes are gonna help the traffic. I think there aren't that many people going east and west.
It's kind of a improvement for school drop off times and times when there's turning traffic into the school or turning traffic onto Main Street. Provides a little bit of extra capacity there to get the turning traffic out of the way of through traffic. So that means the traffic coming at the stop sign, it is still only one lane through. But there's a little bit of storage there to get the left turners out of the queue, so they're not waiting for other movements of cars to make their turn.
Would the roundabout be more effective?
It would be more smoother running, I should say.
Almost we're not getting that land.
Yeah,
We'll never get the right of way to put it
Out
in.
in the roundabout is there's quite a bit of land acquisition involved.
That's the issue.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna happen.
Roundabouts and kids crossing.
I struggle with that one a lot too.
You do have an example though, of another.
Yeah, there's lots of examples of communities in Iowa that have roundabouts.
It goes
right
that
at
way,
schools.
how it would be.
I'm not saying it doesn't work, I just can't.
Right, well, and it's
Yeah,
just a
it's just we want
different,
to say,
different method of
Yeah,
crossing
we
where
go
around
that
by.
way. School is
You
a
know,
problem.
think about the difference between the turn lane version.
I don't
where
know.
Few lanes of traffic. On the roundabout, you're crossing one lane and then you're crossing one other lane. And there's a median in between.
They sit in the middle.
Yeah, there's a refuge basically.
Good.
So, and the traffic's only coming from one direction at a time on each of those lanes, so.
There
There
would
is
only
a,
be turn lanes on the north and south, right?
correct.
Yep.
In theory, two cars move through the intersection at the same time. Someday that-
Different direction.
Someday, yeah, someday we hope that that would be maybe a traffic controlled intersection potentially, but.
Okay.
And there's no, this is the other thing. There is no requirement that says it does still have to be a stopped intersection. It doesn't have to have a stop sign. With turning lanes of that, it could be considered to remove the stop sign, use traffic related beacon to cross kids and to allow traffic to flow freely through there and people to funnel into the turn lane and turn as available. In theory.
Would that be a recommendation from Snyder or not?
I don't know. They could probably look at that, but
Yeah, it's not something we actually looked at in terms of removal of the stop sign. We either kept the stop sign. We did look at signal warrants and it doesn't warrant a signal at the time. Just in terms of the usual warrants that we look at for justifying a signal installation because they are quite expensive. But we didn't really look at changing anything from the four-way stop. It was either a four-way stop or it was a roundabout. Where the roundabout's kind of a continuous flow, four-way stop would act like it does today, only with a little bit of additional capacity.
The cost difference again, do you recall approximately?
It was between $100,000 and $200,000 difference, I think, it's just by recollection.
I thought it was more like 400 grand.
When they put that stop sign in, I put for the same reason you put yours in front of you, but this was to slow traffic.
Huh?
Stop sign was to slow traffic.
On
That's why it was
R38
put in there.
going on our.
He's talking about Main Street, I think,
Yeah.
and First.
Yeah, he's talking about that's the same reason.
Yeah.
Why they did it.
Got it, yeah.
All of this stuff.
Yeah, we're definitely not making that decision right now. I think it was just a theory of like, that could be researched to improve traffic flow if that's the.
You'd be money ahead to connect Cedar and just keep the 2-lane and figure out some traffic with school that way.
To do what?
And then just resurface R38 and leave it the way.
I don't think we can get the land for Sweden.
To do what? Cedar Street?
We don't have
No.
the area.
You're not
between
gonna
there.
get that land. You're not getting that land, probably.
I'm with AJ on this. I get some concerns until we do a comp plan about what we're gonna do, and I think Julie, you mentioned the same thing of. I wanna make fun of Huxley, but nobody wants 69 run through the middle of Huxley, they didn't plan far enough ahead. And so now they have a high-speed 2-lane run right through the middle of town that nobody wants. Are we thinking far enough ahead and are we investing a substantial amount of money that we're gonna regret in the future? So I don't know what a smart thing is to duck some of that traffic away from R38. And I don't want to keep kicking a can down the road, but where's this town planning to grow? how do we get around it? Are we gonna be doing pavement out on the gravel, 5/10, whatever it is? Are we looking to expand east? Are we looking to expand south? How do we make a good investment on our main thoroughfare without understanding our 10-20 year plan?
Well, even if we pave somewhere else, R 38 is gonna be there.
And
Correct.
We have to
it's the
pay for-
busiest street.
But if we say is R 38 gonna be a 4 lane at some future date, just like I'm sure there's people in Huxley wish 69 was a 4 lane street.
Well, we're
Well,
not
not unless you take out a block of house.
and we don't really have any we don't have any jurisdiction over that, do we?
Well, we could make it 4 lane
I mean,
in
we
city
can't use
limits
the
if
city
you want
limits,
it.
But that's,
It could be 4 lanes
all
in
we
city
can do.
limits. That's our choice.
that's all we can do.
I think, I remember when we had this discussion, when we approved the $22,000 to do the research to figure out the
Yep.
plan for this. It's like you can plan and plan and plan and not get there. And I don't disagree. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think, can you remind me, Rich, you don't know off the top of your head, maybe not, but there was an indication on overlaying and replacing that whole section, the same section we're
That's the
talking
basis.
about.
Like, we're starting with, okay,
That's why
what's it
we-
gonna take to overlay and get the surface on it? And it doesn't really restart the design life of the pavement. You get about a 15 year fix out of an overlay before it starts to deteriorate some more. So the thought was, okay, knowing that there's a big outlay for an overlay project, it is prudent to look at reconstruction. And look at the longer, more of a 50 year timeline with the cost of construction than a 15 year time frame of doing it over and over. So that was kind of the basis of looking at it, of looking at the long-term pavement, and then there was some concern around Main Street intersection that we paid some special attention to that on considerations of a roundabout, or mainly because of the traffic issue that we witnessed via camera counts that we did, and drone observance of school traffic drop-off times and pickup times to see, okay, well, what's happening here and how does the queue develop? And there's, every time, every day, pretty good queue that develops at Main Street.
I think the other thing too, let me just ask. That asphalt 15 years is a really, really long estimation for that section of road from Main Street to the heart of Iowa, based on the width of the bed and the amount of traffic that drives on the edge of the asphalt. That's why the deterioration occurs so quickly on that section of road. So that has to be widened. Your professional opinion would probably be to widen that regardless of whether you were doing a new asphalt street or you were doing anything, because the overlay is not gonna last less because there's no edge to that road.
We didn't really include the estimate of the base cost of overlay. We didn't include any base widening to pave some of the shoulder. That'd be, obviously make the base cost more and probably justify reconstruction a little better. So.
And that's the only reason I asked that question, is because we talked about overlay, but the problem is that road section is not wide enough to have a good quality of life on the asphalt.
Yeah,
And again, when we did that patch in 25, the contractor said, we've got maybe a year.
yeah,
Unless I can kick it down the road forever,
yeah, cause it's bad now.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
So I'll do that.
I would
Wait.
highly look at the turn lane idea and go with that, construct that whole area so we get cleaned up. And
What? You like the turning lane idea? Rich,
Snyder.
just a second, guys in the crowd, please. Can you just clarify this number 3.6? It includes, can you scope that for us? Widening, concrete, curb, gutter, stormwater, all the way to 4 Mile Creek, right?
Right, so let me take a couple steps back. We sat down with staff and kind of looked at all the recommendations that were in the report. And remember, we had a set of action items. The staff's been going through, checking out those action items and talking to people. And we also took a look at how to parse the project up versus funding streams. There's certain money that can fund certain things. And then set priorities of, okay, what's the top priority and on down the line. So top priority was Lynn Street reconstruction. So looking at the street pavement itself. Second priority was adding a trail along Lynn Street from 210 up to the Heart of Iowa Nature Trail. Third priority was looping that trail from Highway 210 south to is it Cedars Trail? And fourth priority was doing something with the trailhead parking lot. Okay, now the roadway qualifies really for one funding stream that's available to you. But now used to be CERPA, and it's a Surface Transportation Block Grant. And how you qualify for that is working with your county. You go after the Small Communities Fund that's in there. Unfortunately, that fund only has about 300,000 and change, between 300,000 and 400,000 available in it, and it's competitive. And there's two other towns that have put in applications for 400,000 already, so you'd be competing. So it's taking your chances, and then once you get it, then it's still only 400,000 of a $3 million project. So for a minority of the funding, it's federalizing your whole project and putting you through federal loops of all the things that if we were designing it, we'd have to jump through 3 sets of plans, submittals to the DOT, a lot of red tape and paperwork associated with it. So that's not the greatest situation in terms of outside funding coming into the street project. Trail is a different situation where there's lots of funding streams available. You guys talked to the county, and again through MIPA, there's a source of funds through there that's enough funds to apply for 80% of the total construction cost, which that's starting to sound good, but it's paying 80% of that construction cost. Plus there's other funding streams outside of MIPA that are more competitive, but you are connecting to the Hard Mile and Asia Trail, which is a big deal. Being it's the Great American Rail Trail, it's, part of the Central Iowa Trail Network. It's
County reps up as would be a good grant.
And finally, there's the trailhead parking lot. By and large, it fits the same funding streams as trails do. Trailheads kind of go together. That was a kind of a one way of looking at the split. So really, we're looking at a $3 million roadway project that includes storm sewer. It's an urban cross section, so curb and gutter and storm sewer intakes and an underground storm sewer system to convey surface water. And plus we had a water main replacement included in that cost as well.
So what are you looking for from council tonight, Jerry?
Direction on whether or not they support the roundabout versus the turning lanes for the road, and whether or not there's consensus on the trail, the 2 trail systems, and the paving of the arboretum, which would be the trailhead. Again, the county representatives are very excited about that project, and we have a very good chance of getting funding for it because of the 2 trail systems.
Right, with the exception of my reservations around, are we making the best long-term plan? I'm real supportive of the first 3. The last one, my reservation there is making sure we're with Ballard that it's a trailhead, not a school parking lot. Another than that, yeah, I think we'll be good things in town. I agree with Bill, and I just always very scared of spending money, but I don't know it's the best expense long-term, and I just can't figure out a solution for R38. Maybe that's because there isn't one long-term. But I don't have the history of the town well enough of, why did we go east for a while and then we stopped? I don't know. All those things. Where are we going and what's the best road to support that? But in the interim, yeah. 3 out of 4 and 4 out of 4 if. So make sure it's trailhead instead of school parking lot.
Well, we haven't sat down with the school yet to talk about that aspect, that is primarily used by the school staff or the school administration.
Yep.
And it's just
We
big.
can have dual purpose because the timing would be such, so. Getting the school to help support that initiative would be helpful.
For sure. If you participate in any of their financial budget presentations to the public, I'll tell you, that'll be a hard one to sell, which is I respect. But what are their opinions? You have to ask.
Yep.
The only one that I think is from a prioritization standpoint, I think it'd be a dream come true to do all of it. The loop trail section, that 370 to me, they're getting a wide trail from heart of Iowa to 210 guarantees that there's sidewalk on the west side of R38 all the way to 11th. Because there is an existing sidewalk all the way down the west side.
You're talking about putting this trail on the west side of our thing?
That would be ideal if you can. There'll be new sidewalk on the opposite side, right? One side will have sidewalk, one side would have a wider trail.
Because you would be down there, you build the trail and look across.
The theory was making the trail wider on the west side, I think Mark asked about, is because then it could spit out. It could funnel to the regular sidewalk south of R38 or out south of 210. And you wouldn't necessarily have to like create the trail. You wouldn't have to go replace all that existing sidewalk down to 11th and then replace.
I assume you're talking 10th, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Down to 10th. It's only whether you want to make it wider for bikes and pedestrians instead of right now, it's just a regular sidewalk.
Right.
And I don't think, you weren't planning on anything on the east side, were you?
Yeah, they were. That was the original design. The original design was wide on the east, so Mark had asked about, could it go on the west? And they
Yeah,
thought there was enough
think-
right of way to do that.
Yeah, I think west makes sense. I didn't know we were gonna put anything on the east slopes or on the east side.
Not south of 210.
Oh, okay.
But I think, so that loop part to me, trail connecting from Severs Trail east to Lynn Street, then north to 210, that's a lot of paving, replacing existing paving where we have a sidewalk. It's not a trail, but from a walker's perspective, it's nice. That one actually at 370,000 seems less appealing to me at priority 3 than improving the trailhead parking lot. If the county's more supportive of that there and figuring out if there's solid grant dollars for that. I see loop trail as the 4th priority in my head, just thinking through accessibility, existing pavement, walking, and the value of that parking lot there, if we can get more people to park there and go there and use that as a trailhead. I get that.
I think for the citizens, the biggest advantage, everybody wants a better road, but the loop trail is for Snyder citizens. Whereas the trailhead is more so for outsiders, which is a great thing for town. We want their business coming here, all those things, see how great our town is. But the one that's pretty much dedicated to the people who live here is a loop trail. So I guess I don't see it quite the way you, I understand your logic. It depends on where target audience is.
I read that trail a lot. And,
Part of Iowa?
yeah,
Okay.
well, both of them.
Yeah.
But is the trailhead where it's at the best place for the trailhead?
Great question.
Right now, if you get on that trailhead to go west, you gotta cross the highway. And most people go on the high trestle. And if it was at the other end of town, people would go through town to get to the trailhead.
Yeah. I think there's probably in our,
Suppose are,
yeah, I think we're kind of a scattered trailhead town at the moment. With maybe lack of a broader,
Yeah, because we kind of have.
but we got parking lots everywhere for the trail, which is a good thing.
There was a trailhead at the junction of the trails. It would
Be popular.
be more popular for the trail
Mhm.
and it would bring people through town instead of
We're getting that barbecue done, right?
to the, just going to the
Maybe, yeah.
school parking lot and leaving town.
Yeah. It's a valid point. So first question for the council, based on what I heard Jerry say, is roundabout or turn lanes?
Turn lane.
Turn lanes.
Okay.
I'm not smart enough to know, and it sounds like the roundabout may not be an issue because we can't do it. Without.
We need more right of way.
We need a lot of right of way from both the school and the landowner, the Walker family. That land. And I don't know how feasible that is.
Could you talk, Rich, about schedule, like timing of this project before the state's
Yeah,
roundabout
so
project? Do you think we have enough time to accomplish all this?
if you keep it local, you, because you're really looking for, you're trying to get to 2027 construction.
Yep.
And if you go federal aid route, you won't even know if you're funded until it's time to get it let. We'd be starting the project when we're wanting to let the project, if that makes any sense. Because by the time you knew that you were awarded funding, it's already into the winter of 26, 27. So it's a little late to be developing a federal aid project. It'd be into the early summer before we could send that through the DOT for letting. So that's problematic in terms of using outside funding on road paving. Trail paving, you probably have a little bit more patience.
Yeah.
You know, the ability to wait and do the road paving and let the trail come in later. Sounds inefficient, but at least if there's outside funding being used, there's outside funding being used. And your outlay is quite a bit less.
Safe routes to schools, fed or state,
Federal.
I just made, good.
But we could still wait, we could be on a federal timeline for the trail.
Right.
It's the road section that the timeline gets problematic because the detour route is the summer of 28. So and you're not gonna do this project in school, school's in session.
Yeah, so summer 27, you want.
Well, that's what it feels like the timeline is pinned on, or you wait and then you're summer of 29.
It's not gonna last that long.
Right?
The detour is strong.
So turning lanes
Turning lanes is consensus.
and then
Timing is,
lanes.
yeah. What information is missing for this council to say, yes, we have to move forward and we want staff to move forward, that we're going to do these things? What information does the council need to make that decision and vote on that topic?
Funding is probably the big one.
Funding, the pathway to how you're gonna fund it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Funding.
Yeah.
How do we come up with 3 million first?
Yep. Jerry, you're getting a little bit with Rich's help, your arms around that. Do you feel comfortable coming back to us with some recommended funding pathways to 3 million?
We'll give it a go.
Where those could come from,
Yeah.
both grant, existing funds.
So far, we're
Bonding
talking about the three,
capacity.
we're talking about the trail yet too. or-
Well, I'm hearing the council say, I'm hearing some of the council say at least the top three,
I think
but
go for-
you just will do all four
looking
and
at
then,
funding. Go for all four if you're looking at funding, then we decide after funding,
Okay.
what can we actually afford?
all right. Are you good with that direction? Do you need that to be
Motion?
official for you?
Yeah. I like that.
Okay, motion to turn lane focus and put together the funding strategy.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed? Is that sufficient, Rich? Okay,
Thank you, Rich.
thank you for being here. Thanks for sitting through all this. Moving on to the next section. C, discussion and consideration of CIP items for fiscal year 27. Jerry, go ahead and jump in there on that section. I'm not as familiar with what you're looking for from.
Really, at the previous city council meeting, we presented a budget that was void of any capital improvements, projects. And so what you have before you is a sheet that shows those items that were in the capital improvement plan. They're also in the budget, but we extracted them to achieve a balanced budget. So these are things, these are items totaling over $526,000. We just want the council to know that to do any of these things would require a budget amendment. Some of these things actually got pushed to fiscal year 2028. Like some of the equipment requests like line painter, UTV. The Nighthawk dugouts are on there, so I know you mentioned that, Mayor, earlier in the meeting. And then pool resurfacing and deck improvements. So again, this is where we left off at the last city council meeting. Is this, just again, we're not gonna be doing any of these things. If we do, it would require a budget amendment. Some of these things are like PPEs, 12,000 for the fire department, harness, 8,500.
So I know we talked about these things and we said I thought if I recall, did we talk about these and we say we wanted to do all these?
Yes, we just didn't have a motion.
So there's support to do all of them. Okay,
Yes, but
it's gotta come from the $1.2 million then.
The couple things I would say is, well, the jetting and televising for one, since that's my wheelhouse. It's a lot of money to spend in 1 year. That's a lot of information to go over. Is that information gonna be gone over? Or is it gonna be thrown to the side? 125,000 is a lot to spend in 1 year on jetting and televising. So I target like 15,000 a year. Which we do our own televising, that makes a big difference, but that's, I mean, if
Yeah,
you're
it could be
doing that all
repairs
in
also.
1 year. Then you're looking at, that's a ton of information to go over, and with all that information, what are you gonna do with it? I know you're looking
You
at,
act on it.
right, that's what I mean, so. I think that's a little.
We haven't done anything
Right.
we need to start thinking about doing something every year.
Right, oh, I agree.
are you suggesting that, I heard you say this, I don't know if AJ did, you're suggesting that the 125 isn't 100% jetting and televising? A portion of that is repair, maintenance or fixes, or it's all just the
Most
jetting?
of it is televising work, but there could be some lining projects in there.
They're doing some lining. In conjunction with this,
Yeah.
I would be more supportive of that.
Depends on what
But
they
if you're
find.
just jetting and televising, 125,000, that should just about do the entire city. So
Per city, we spent that every year and there wasn't that much really, but. We try to do like a quarter of the community. And again, the goal is to start being more proactive and doing something.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
We're outsourcing that, right? 100, we don't do
Yeah.
any of our own televising.
CTI would be the company that would be doing this.
CIT.
So the good goal is to do this every 5 years, so we should just set up 20 of the city.
Annually.
Every year.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
You should divide the city into portions and do sections, so then you can review that information and then act on it.
Right, AJ's right, it is a lot of information to analyze, but that's part of their job is to
I agree.
know things that they see and
Just
give the public.
making sure they know that 125,000, that's, I mean, I can get 13,000 foot of pipe done for about 15 grand. A lot of pipe. That's just jetting, so.
Okay, so that could be another figure. I guess when I look at these things, I thought we were supportive that we would do these things and then they would follow the purchase and quoting process and come to us via budget amendment at the time that it was needed and wanted. That we wouldn't do a massive approval of this tonight.
Yeah.
That as these came up in the next fiscal year, we'd follow the quoting process, the presentation and that, but that, yes, we do believe these are things that need to be done and we'd assess those. As they come to us on this specific list, was my interpretation.
And aware that this is gonna be budget. numbers.
We're aware and know that they're
Yeah.
budget amendments,
Okay.
but I don't think massively that was my interpretation.
Yeah, we just wanted to have it before the end, so everybody is on the same page.
Just one exception I would have to that philosophy is, I think we need to clarify what capital and expense is. There's things on here that, from my history, you don't make any sense as capital.
Window frame painting, yeah, I feel like that's not necessarily capital.
Well, but even the jetting, if this is something we're gonna do every year,
Yeah, it should be.
isn't it just a expense as part of your budget item that Marcia puts in?
Yeah,
your budget every
and
year?
again, I think it's fair because we haven't done it. So, and it
Right,
is,
but I'm trying
it's
to
a
clarify
substantial amount of money to
Oh.
do,
that. You know, there's,
but next year it could be pushed to operating.
and there's
Expenditure.
window painting and computer and things and those.
So give a definition rather than going that way, how would you that would be a motion that could be made is how would you define? How do you want to define capital? And is that a threshold, dollar amount threshold? Is that, give me something. to
Well,
look at.
that's where, again, my
Not operating.
Yeah, my suggestion was gonna be that's something that Vince is very.
And I think that what they're saying is these are all things that were not historically operating. That's why we provided them
PPE,
here.
That's operating.
Yeah.
Something we buy every year.
Right,
I'm thinking like a truck.
I'm used to hard goods.
Yes. Trucks, tractors.
Yes.
I think it's labeled inappropriately and we have to look back at, these are some things that we're adding to the budget versus capital improvements.
So yeah, I guess,
For this point in time, we're just adding things to the budget
Right. So
And
Taylor, I
next
guess,
year, we need to outline and come up with a definition of what we consider capital improvement.
Yeah, we asked for that when we went this whole new round of budgeting is we need a definition of what's a capital improvement with operating.
Right.
And we never really received it. That's why things got pulled off from our operating stuff. I mean, PPE and harnesses, that's a every year expense for fire department, correct? So many ground gear and so many SVAs. So every year you're gonna have this same flows. To me, that's operating expense on your fire department. It should just be there on their normal budget.
I agree with that. Lighting on the trails, that's not probably something that's an operating.
No.
But
But we're learning that because we changed how we do it. So it's a learning process, I think, for this kind of thing.
so Taylor, if you're looking for a motion, my motion would be for Jerry and Lindsay to investigate a good definition for us to adopt it.
Perfect.
Can we make a motion to approve
Yeah.
these in this
Like-
budget first?
Yeah,
You want-
fine.
I mean, can we do that first?
let's just get
Or
something
do you-
moving. I understand we need a.
There's no reason why these can't move already. We're not even into the fiscal year. These guys, everybody has been greenlit that the city council supports these, so as those departments wanna do these, they need to bring them to us and we'll approve them and we'll amend the budget.
They're good.
Correct.
So I don't think we need to make that motion tonight.
Okay. We're gonna-
Because we're all aligned, we support these, bring them to us
Wanna
in the
make sure.
fiscal year when you bring them to us. And you'll have to explain and help us understand the balance and the money and where we're at financially at that time.
Except please don't bring the window trim painting to us for.
And that's the threshold.
I think let's go ahead and do that, or let me know on a weekend and I'll come to the place.
That's the threshold, level where it'd be good to define what our purchase policy, already has some of that as well.
Use by the computer and don't tell us about it. It'd be great.
Motion for staff to investigate and define what capital is. Second
Motion
by,
to move forward with these items.
second, I don't think so.
We're not doing
No,
that.
said we're moving forward.
Do we need to move up the dugouts?
That's my question to you all. You heard my recommendation.
I think if they're as bad as what they're claiming, I can't really speak to what kind of condition they're in, but if it's an issue that makes us look bad, if you will, at least make an effort to make it look right.
And if it's a way to take a step toward them and help them to see that we wanna, we want
six.
This is 20,000 Mark's new plan.
I haven't heard his new plan, but I know he was getting quotes on it from somebody, but
I would,
this is just a generic, fix it the same way we'd fix a little league field.
Right.
Julie, you actually.
Let's not do anything improving it.
This is not an improvement. This is just replacing with like kind, basically.
Disgusting.
Okay, then I'll take your word for
Is
it.
that?
Terrible.
That's.
okay.
Yeah.
I would move that item.
Put 26.
Give him direction to move on that one.
27, I mean.
go.
So you need a-
27, okay.
Do you need a motion to move the?
Or I'd even think about it in 26.
No, just let staff do that. Staff have the autonomy to move it up.
Do it, just get it done.
If you guys are good with that, great. I told you.
In this topic, and I did bring it up earlier, I had sent you guys on that same email about if the pool we can really get 10 years out of. And I'm assuming the longer we delay, the harder it's gonna be to maintain. Do we want to consider moving the pool up to 26, 27?
I think that's something we can look at when we do that budget. I mean, it's not gonna be in the 26 budget or the 20. Oh, you wanna move it up to 26?
20, we're working on the 27 right now.
I don't know if we can move it up to 26 in order to beat the season or not. I have no idea how long this takes to find out if it's a good coating.
Oh,
Jerry, I'm just going on your comments and your.
You're not gonna.
Mark, talk to an engineer about it.
I think it's always gonna be totally exploratory. I don't think the guarantee is very good because what they're gonna say to us, just like everything else is, well, when we start taking layers off and sand blasting away concrete and open rebar, doing that stuff, we don't know, and I think
What's it mean? But if they're gonna leave it open-ended, then less.
that was a loose indication on pricing. I think when Mark brought it to us,
You worry about next year, not this year.
I think
I
the
think
pool
Mark
is a bigger
said that-
discussion.
Mark said he spoke with somebody and said it was good for a number
Up
of
to
years.
10 years.
Mark's
Yeah.
getting
There's an
encouraged about
engineer.
that thing.
That was with the existing, correct? The way it is without doing a coating. I thought Mark said. he
I think
spoke
that
with
was
somebody.
with a coating, it would last 10 years. That was my understanding. Like if they actually re-coated it, it would be good for 10 years.
He had
We need
said
some more,
the
we need
condition
some,
of it.
we definitely need some more information. I do think council directed that the priorities from a capital improvement project are R38 EMS and library, where there was a motion on that.
Yep.
If you look at the financial figures in the budget, we've prioritized that the pool's not in those top three.
Yeah.
He's asking if you wanna move it up
Investigate it.
financially.
No,
Okay,
not right now.
Probably not ahead of those others now.
Alright, I was just worried about degradation and if we wait too long, then there's nothing left to go.
okay.
Okay.
So we were to a point where we had staff to define capital improvement, what capital is. Also to move the dugouts to priority in 27 or remainder of 26 if budget allows.
Which one?
Remainder of 26 if budget allows. And then it gets moved to
And timing allows.
And timing.
Even if budget doesn't allow, if we can get it done in time, but
I mean,
with the season already started, I don't think he can.
I don't think it's actually started, but I do know they're getting out there on the field a little, or I know the coach has been to the field.
we can explore.
Well, explain.
Yes,
So explore for 27 or yet in 26.
go after it
Now,
as soon as feasibly
That's
possible.
where I'm
It's gonna be
at.
cheaper now versus a year from now,
Right.
so.
Who knows, maybe not.
It's as bad as Julie says it is, then yeah, we should get something done. If we can. So do we need a motion or not?
Yep, we've got it in the motion to move it up to as soon as possible with staff also determining the definition of capital.
And the last one was parking on the east end of Main Street, or sorry, west end. It's been a conflict for those who listen to the meetings, and it's been a headache for a year.
Is that something you're asking us to put on this year's budget?
Be 27, we should get it on this year's, but
It's in this, he's wanting to prioritize that capital project up to one of the most important, one of the top capital projects.
Yeah.
Parking is in there.
Oh,
Well, I say.
But not for
that.
I think that's a much bigger, I think from,
Leave what we have there.
it's a big lift, I think, in terms of determining and would be probably hiring an engineer to do the analysis.
I just know it's been
Yeah,
a big board.
motion.
And that's the last thing we need is divisive stuff, so.
Second.
Help address that.
I second Craig's motion originally.
Okay, all those in favor signify with the sign aye. The motion on the table that you're voting on is to staff to define capital and to prioritize dugouts to an ASAP. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
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 Opposed? Any abstentions? All right, moving on to the next item, we have the barbecue restaurant economic incentive program. This is the agreement that would be in place. They're both here in the back. Good to see you guys in due diligence right now. Doing some understanding of cost to construct. This is just the agreement. It's not an executed agreement, but it'd mean the agreement that we would share then with them for them to review and attorneys to review and to return to us upon their desire to move forward. There's one change that I wanted in the agreement, something that we've been adamant about from an economic development is that the words related to the contract be on page, use of funds, number 4. On the back page, it says City of Slater and are to only be used for the purpose of constructing the property's building, the property's related site improvements as outlined in the revitalization incentive fund application. We've been very adamant at the economic development that these funds are exclusively for physical construction or the physical improvement, not the engineer or architect's improvements, right? And that is just to protect from those people cost a lot of money and you wouldn't want to basically go through the loan and they finish the engineering and determine, oh yeah, yep, we're out on this one and we can't pay the loan back. Not that I'm saying anybody would do that, but I think that's been the standard on all of them is reimburse for physical construction.
We just had that happen.
We just had it happen. Unfortunately, because we were clear about that, we didn't reimburse any of that. So I think the word needs to say in there, it does need to say physical construction.
No, I agree, because that was not a hypothetical, that was an actual.
For the purpose of constructing,
Yeah, it says constructing the property's buildings.
I think it should say for the purpose of the physical construction of building and property related site improvements as outlined in the revitalization application. I just want to make sure that we're clear with that word, because that was one that was on the last time was something. Is everybody in agreement with that? Does anybody have comments related to the agreement itself?
You had mentioned during the original kind of kickoff, this talking about a pretty large parking lot. I think you said 300 cars. I'd like to have that in here. Tanya, I think you mentioned that.
No, it's been revised now 3 times already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have that as part of the anchor in here, that's part of the requirements for the forgiveness.
Is what?
The 300 cars. You said you knew darn good well people were gonna park there and stay.
That, just for the record though, that far exceeds what the city's zoning requirements. I think the requirement is like 30 some spaces, isn't that what I told you?
Well, it's a 3 to 1. I mean, that's a.
1 per 600 square
Uses
feet.
for spaces everywhere in restaurants.
I'm just going based on what was during the discussion. You'd said that there was.
It's no longer a parking lot of 300.
What's that?
It's no longer a parking lot of 300. That's what she's telling you.
Oh, okay.
We're in due diligence. We've revised it down twice.
Okay. But I guess that's something I'd like to see in the contract.
Well, that would be approved in their building permit.
Well, we have zoning code that requires a certain amount of parking per the construction type and they'd have
Like
to meet.
30 some spaces based on a 12,000 square foot building.
That's all we can require them.
So we already have kind of like a governance. We already have a governance of that
Right.
through our
There's the
zoning.
governance of the code, but then there's the incentive. That,
And
We want
can't
to tie the
contradict them.
incentive to more parking than what's legally required.
that was what was originally stated. So that's why your original conversation, you had said that, there was gonna be people using it for the trailheads. You need more than you just need it for the restaurant.
Yeah, but when you calculate those number of spaces, it's like, it's astronomical, the number of people, it would go unused. So we've been studying this and it's just too large.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was certainly the initial indication and hope. Is that fair to say that 300 spaces is what was the initial?
Said it was over 200, but it's just
Yeah.
not feasible to have that large of a lot. It's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I guess I'm interested in having some kind of requirement here so that we have sufficient parking at that location.
It's just gonna be based on what we have.
We have
legally.
zoning laws that dictate species you're required by use.
But I guess my concern is obviously you're correct. People are
It's still
gonna,
private property.
people are gonna
I mean,
abuse your
it's not an
parking.
open parking lot for everybody.
Right.
Okay.
They can post parking
We
for
can,
this
yeah, we
business
can
only.
allow people to park there, but it's not a public
Right.
parking area.
Agreed, but unfortunately, people are gonna use it.
Yeah, that's our discretion.
Yeah.
That's
We
land.
know that and we accept that. It's not that we don't. It's just that it's no longer that number.
Half of this.
Okay.
Yep.
Or just long agreement, that's all we need.
We, I
Oh,
have my
yeah.
plan here.
We've already talked about
My adjustment.
it. So,
Yeah, what's his agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve this loan agreement with the mayor's adjustment on that number 4.
Second,
Final discussions?
No, the date on the draw isn't actually in here unless I missed it.
When you say the date on the draw,
If you look at the one for home needs, for example, you got the draw date. It's off the reason. And this one seems a little more vague about that rather than a hard date.
So if they're allowed to see or 12 months.
the 15th of each month, is that what you're saying?
No, in section 1.
So it's 12 months. or so.
Yeah, I think needs to be a change on that. There needs to be a change on the second one. Cause that is not the way we want this agreement, cause if you read that, that allows them to draw on the money for a decade. And the
Yeah.
loan has to be paid in a decade, so that's where the error is
I
there,
got a picture on the second.
not on this one.
Yeah.
Not on this
Yeah,
one.
But this one doesn't have a draw. It just says,
It,
first
the-
sentence.
you see though, that expire with the granting of certificate of occupancy for the property or 12 months following, whichever occurs first.
Right.
And that is then also, I believe, I can't remember the term, but that is what we approved as then the due date is of
Okay.
that.
Because it'd be great if that was clear in here.
What,
That, because otherwise, depending how things go with the certificate of occupancy, that could be drug out indefinitely.
well, they can't generate revenue without a certificate of occupancy,
Agreed.
but they have taxable
Building
value.
permit's only good valid for It's a year.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
And then the other question I had was, in the first section for the draw period, it says, 10 to 15,000 square feet. But in the forgiveness, it doesn't say the 10 to 15,000. It does say the $500,000 valuation and 8 employees. But I would like to replicate the 10 to 15,000 square.
That's not what the council approved. So with that, the square foot threshold should not be in there. Well, the only thing that does in the first section is it limits paying for something outside of the 10 to 15,000. The council has already approved what the
Right.
terms were, and it didn't include a square footage minimum. It included a valuation minimum.
Right.
And I think you voted in favor of that.
Correct. But that. Right, the skew of how much we're forgiving versus the price of the building. There's a huge difference in $500,000 building and a.
Don't you believe that regardless of if they build a 10 to 15,000 square foot building, it'll be valued far more than $500,000?
Yes, but this doesn't require to build a 10 to 15,000 square foot building.
They can build whatever they want as long as the valuation gets to that number or greater, right?
But as long as if it's $500,001, then.
They met the agreement.
Right, and then we forgive 200,000 of that.
That's what the agreement will say, as long as they have the 8 employees.
Yep.
Okay, and have a sole vote of occupancy.
Is that it, Craig? That's the last of your points there?
Yes.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions.
No, put me down as 9.
So a no, you're saying? Put you down as a no.
I did say.
You're for, in favor?
Yes.
Yes, in favor.
Oh, and a piddly one, we have your name in here, Lindsay, usually it's position instead of name, but it's piddly, I don't care how it works, usually lawyers don't like name.
It doesn't matter. I mean, we can take it out.
I don't care.
It doesn't hurt to have the name for the future record to know who the hell did it, because there's certain things where we wish we had that probably.
Usually tell around, they don't want to associate with the name because people.
Come back after me.
The attorney has looked at these.
Okay, so the attorney won, okay.
I believe so. So we're moving into, is there anything else you guys have sat through all this that you wanted to update or say related to the project?
No, just listening on your other 2 ones related to the restaurant.
Okay, perfect. The home needs agreement now, moving into that one. The draw period, Jerry, that needs to align more with what the other one was. We can't give them 10 years to draw on the loan. There was a deadline to do it. And so please reword that.
Yeah.
Bring that back to us. That shouldn't delay anything they're doing.
Or can we just fix it?
I've learned that the hard way recently, via my emails. I do think, I would say this.
Fix the first one?
I would say this fix the first one. You can do the same thing, but I would ask you that you send that to myself, the mayor pro tem, and to Craig
Okay.
as a final sign off that the 3 of us help me, help you and us by having more than just me responsible for reviewing the new
Because you're not
language.
signing the contract on behalf of the city, correct?
Which one?
The one with home needs.
The home needs one, I won't be, no.
Okay, well, your name.
AJ will have to sign that contract. Cause I'll be personally signing that as a promissory.
Yep.
So you, Craig and AJ.
On both of the agreements, once you get the revised wording, get sign off from the 3 of us that
Okay.
it matches what was approved.
Okay.
So that it's not solely on me and there's other eyes.
We'll hold AJ to fine.
Okay,
Well, you're fixing and then
Get the big one.
if the lawyer wants Lindsay's name on, leave it, otherwise. We go back. to
Christ said it for you.
is everybody good? Is everybody good with this agreement with, we'll see the revisions related to draw?
You need a motion or?
Yes.
So move.
Thanks.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? The next one is the maintenance agreement with Gross Wind Technologies, city's wastewater treatment. They've provided the maintenance up to date, 100% cost free to the city of Slater. Their time period is up from the original agreement, is my understanding. This is the proposed agreement that we'd be accepting for the annual maintenance. Seems pretty reasonable. there's a lot of manual work and expertise related to changing harvesting blades, oiling chains and changing master links, greasing bearings, all those related items. The topic is open for discussion.
AJ, I'm gonna put you on the spot. You read through the exclusion.
Yeah,
To me, I don't understand all the terminology about what they're caring for and what they're not caring for, but it seems like there's a long list of exceptions they ain't taken care of.
yeah, I kind of agree with that. I understand there's a lot of grease and things like that. That's what was signed off on.
Signed off on, you mean?
By the employees, that was the route we wanted to go, was with the RAD. So I don't know. I don't see maintenance contracts that usually pan out in dollars and cents, it seems like, in most cases. If they're gonna have to come in and repair a belt or something like that, that's not covered under the maintenance side of it. That's gonna be an extra expense. If they're gonna come in and grease bearings and grease chains or oil chains, I should say, things of that nature, doesn't seem like a huge.
Am I hearing that the two of you would like further information about what is or isn't and why it is or isn't covered?
Also like to know whether there's damaged belts that haven't been repaired by Grossman.
Well, the algae belts are excluded, the shimming belts, I don't know what those are. And all the bearings, and the bearings scare the heck out of me with running and.
It's a lot, it's a lot to maintain. I don't disagree that it might be more cost effective in that situation. Because there's so much preventative maintenance, but when it comes down to all the rest of the stuff, that maintenance contract is not gonna cover it.
Yeah,
So-
it was a 15,000 take care of the whole thing. I'm in a heartbeat.
Well, just, yeah,
But,
yeah.
but there's a
So-
lot of things are excluded, a lot of things are thrown.
So, well, I think, the action forward is obviously the two of you, Mark and Jerry and Grossland. Jerry, as a follow-up, can you set up a meeting between those individuals to get them more comfortable with what the agreement is? Is there anybody else that feels compelled to need to be a part of that? If that's, then I would say that we'll table the agreement for now and request that meeting to occur for Craig and AJ to report back. And I'll take that motion. If that's what you guys want to do.
So we'll jump onto that. You are.
Second.
Perfect. Anything else? All those in favor signify with a sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? G, discussion and consideration of service agreement with Northland Securities for barbecue restaurant project. I would just ask the council here, we obviously know that part of the discussion was to recuperate some of the debt that we would incur to put a street in, to provide the financial forgivable loan, that we could potentially tap into some of the TIF dollars from that industrial park. At this point, with the proprietors in their due diligence period, I think we obviously don't want to move forward and invest in that contract, not knowing that the due diligence is completed and that they're on board. So I would just say we should probably table that one. We'll revisit that when it's time.
I'm fine table unless there's other things we can do to incur the debt so that we can get started on the process. But if there's not, then.
The good news is it'll be the debt for the next fiscal year. So with where we sit right now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of time.
I just wanna make sure we don't run.
And if this one doesn't run out of time, which there is a sunset to the purchase agreement that's been presented, so I think we'll know in a shorter period of time. When Tanya and I talked Friday, she was thinking maybe 2 weeks or so by the time she gets finalized quotes and meets with the investors to finalize the date. Finalize the green light or yellow or red light, and we'll report back. So motion to table that one, or do we just go unresolved? Is that better for you guys? Huh?
That's fine for me.
Well, what's in?
You want a motion?
You'll have to bring it back to us if we get the green light it's happening.
Question, please do motions.
Second.
All those in favor signify with aye.
That way there's no question.
Opposed?
Yeah, we missed you, Jerry. We'll figure it out.
Opposed? And any abstentions? Well, these are all recorded and on video. You can always watch them back, so there should never be,
Next time.
there should never be a question. That's why we recorded them. That's why I wanted them recorded. Moving on to the next one, we have the, pool fees and schedule, 2026 season.
That was before the Parks and Rec Board.
That deviated at all from previous,
Oh, there's increases.
of what percent?
Maybe $5 to $10.
5 to 10 dollars.
Only on full.
10%.
But there's more than one category that has been adjusted.
I think if it's been agreed by the Parks and Rec and everybody else, that
It's been reviewed by Parks and Rec.
I'm good with it.
And we report it.
I'll motion.
Just for clarity, Lindsay, remind me, what's the daycare only? Is that for kid?
Yeah, for the kids.
Make a motion to approve.
Seconds.
Final discussion.
Will you ask for comments? Sharks is from 7 to 9.
Mhm.
If I remember right, there wasn't that an issue. We need to make that 9.
They wanted to
or
be
8:50.
7 to 9. We were gonna change it from 7:30 to 9.
9, yeah.
Well, but I
They got
thought,
the time they requested.
I thought Kelsey wanted them out by 8:50 so that we were actually open by 9. So no, it wasn't
got
what they
the-
Well,
wanted.
the pool doesn't open at 9, right?
I know it's what Sharks wanted, but what Kelsey wanted.
But the pool doesn't open at 9.
We were trying to adjust it so that she wouldn't have to be here at 5 or 5:30 in the morning every day to
Okay.
test the water before the first activity. So we could.
Yeah, and I wasn't suggesting going full earlier. I was saying that do Sharks need to quit? by
It's open
8:50?
for AM laps at 9.
Yeah.
What we're talking
Right.
about.
Kelsey is good with the schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Kelsey approved.
It came up last year that they wanted 10 minutes to get all Sharks out.
For half
So they
an
can
hour.
open the door, but if she's fine, I don't care.
Yeah, she's fine.
I don't think we had any conflicts last year, which was good. I mean, I think it all worked pretty good, if I remember the report. I know Mark
Oh,
said it was a very
yeah.
successful pool season, and there wasn't conflicts of that nature, like there was in
He thought
previous
that they
years.
took, they were able to resolve a lot of things on their own because of the poor manager being effective.
Okay,
And this is half a pool question and half a budget question. Did you adjust how you were accounting for the income? Because our income, even though we increased prices, is down by 25 grand.
How I'm going to code it?
I thought you said something about phasing. Because we've been running 65, 70,000. This year it's 45 for 27. And we increased prices. So it should be income should be going up, but it's actually going down.
in terms of what she put into the budget versus what the actual result was. You're comparing past actuals versus budgeted,
Right,
and she's under budgeting revenues.
right.
In
And
the
I
new
thought you said
budget.
something about you're gonna change how you're phasing, so there was in a calendar, or in a fiscal year.
Yes, so I will show you a report for calendar year for the pool, because it's very hard to,
Right.
it's budgeted in 2 fiscal years.
Right.
Correct,
So is that the reason that the income is so low in 27?
probably.
Okay. Then good, that was my other question.
Do we have the motions? Perfect. All those in favor signify with aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Next one we have is the request to allow golf carts on the High Trestle Trail for disabled person going to dog park. Action item from staff recommendation is support the Public Work Director's plan to paint, install handicap accessible parking spaces on the west side of Earl Graham Park and on the south side of First Avenue, north of the recycling drop off.
About the same time, we had 2 complaints or issues that came up from 2 different individuals that were trying to access the dog park. And one said that she couldn't find a spot close enough to actually get there. Public Works Director did look at it and determined that there is a smooth route from the parking at Earl Graham. But he's recommending that, as the mayor said, that he would install parking spaces on the west end of the parking lot there to add for handicap accessibility, and then also add parking on the south side of North First Street where the can drop off is. So to give people 2 different locations access.
My 2 cents, I like the one down at Earl Graham, what we're just, I assume he means adding or switching a couple spots to handicap instead of regular. I'm concerned on First of having the handicap people getting out of their car on more major through street to the co-op. Is that a concern or not? And it's a long ways from the dog park from First Street. It seems like Graham is closer, so I didn't know if that would be good enough, just saying Graham is it, then.
Well, there's been comments too about like the Public Works site, providing an access through there, but that's not paved. It's a public property, but it's really not intended for the general public.
Right.
The Nighthawk, the public, that's a private property, so you really can't, that's not really a public
Right.
throughway.
Yeah, I like what he's in the parking lot. That one seems good one, right? I just
I think,
having handicap people on First Street didn't seem like handicap parking.
Well,
There's a
it'd be off
trail.
First Street, it'd be,
There's a trail or a sidewalk right there.
Yeah, but is he putting parking off the street or on the shoulder of the street?
It would be in the right of way.
it'd be in the right of way, like where, you know,
Oh,
you
so-
drop your cans off, it's not, you can't park on First Street anyway.
Right.
So
Did I-
they'd have to pull in there to park.
All right, then I misread. I thought it was actually on First Street and that.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is, right, like, we've had 3 complaints,
Two.
2 complaints. Let's follow the recommendation and pivot if complaints are,
No.
more complaints arrive.
No, I'm good if they're off the street.
All right.
I thought he meant on the street.
Give me that motion then.
I moved,
So moved. Oh,
do
go
what
ahead.
Mark suggested.
Second,
All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? The next was gonna be the Sharks team. That was where, this is our second year of that contract, by the way, for the history. We took care of the next one as well, which is the sidewalk on 937 Trail Drive. We're moving into the solid waste and recycling recommendation. That recommendation is, Jerry, can you summarize that?
Yeah, we most recently received some information from the city of Ames. They're going with the Aspen.
Can you focus on the garbage first and recycling secondary? Your garbage recommendation is Marshall County.
Marshall County, they seem to have the best, per ton. Tonnage fee, which is $65 a ton.
62 per ton, yeah, $4.
$4 per household. I did pitch the request, about a month ago, and it was with their partial, board, and they requested us to basically come back in May. They indicated that they would support, the city because of the size of the community and the amount of tonnage that we would be bringing to them. And then in the recycling, Ames did do an RFP, they had quotes in and they accepted Aspen's quote. And for Slater, it was around $9.
Real quick, I wanna separate these two. Is everybody supportive of Marshall County?
Are we limited to a year contract? Is that, I mean, we're gonna sign with these guys and then next year they're gonna say we have to go to Ames.
Is this only for us if we have our own garbage company doing it?
It's one garbage company you're saying, or? No, we can, our existing haulers have indicated they would haul to Marshall
Yeah,
County, at least the largest
I
haulers.
surveyed all.
Residents. No one has said they're against it.
Okay.
So we wouldn't be going one garbage hauler and that, I think we're not talking about that here, we're just talking about where the haulers have to take it, we're choosing Marshall County.
Yep.
Is what's recommended, the reason that's recommended is because the cost per ton is more competitive.
Right.
As well as the additional per capita cost is more competitive, in addition to because the tipping fee is so much more cost effective. That is the fee that the residents are gonna see come through on their billing at home, is
Right.
the garbage haulers are gonna pass through the Ames one.
Right.
Or the Story County solution, they won't have to pass through as much on the Marshall County in theory, so hopefully that stays steady to the households.
Yep.
Cost.
I mean, we're at liberty to the hauler, yeah.
Always.
And we're paying less per tonnage, but that doesn't mean the hauler's not gonna come in.
Well, the hauler pays the per ton fee.
I understand that, but. What's gonna stop the hauler from saying, oh, everybody else is at $85 a month, I'm throwing numbers. But $85 a month, we're just gonna make everybody pay $85 a month, even though in Slater. We're getting a lot less tipping rate, you know what I mean? There's
Well,
no
that's
way
what
for
the
us to
point
fix
of the
that.
free market is.
Yeah, but. I mean, yeah, we're committing to a cheaper dumping fee or tipping fee, but.
Right.
It doesn't mean we're guaranteed that we're gonna have a
if they
less
choose not to
garbage.
settle on to us, though, we can always bid it as a community.
Yeah, but that's when you get to shop around to whatever.
You maintain the competitive environment that we have today by taking this solution, and you increase the likelihood that the rates don't go up as high as they will underneath the AIM solution, is what my opinion is. There is no guarantee.
Right.
There's no guarantee.
And we also don't have a guaranteed contract that's gonna keep us in for this for X amount of years.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything in writing other than that
From
they're
either one of
favorable
them,
to working with
Yeah.
us.
Well,
I
Ames
know.
wants us to sign something now.
All on Marshall County would.
Allow us.
I agree that we need to have maybe it's awesome if we could have a 5-year contract at minimum.
We could ask for a decade if we want, I
To
mean.
me, this is secondary, having a place to haul our trash. I'm worried about this market. Same thing to us, but
Well, that's why we want a 5 or a 10-year agreement.
Yeah.
Right, that's the main thing, but as a secondary question, if we don't sign up with Ames now, can we later?
This is my belief, the Iowa DNR, the state of Iowa, Story County, at some point is not gonna allow a town to be.
Garbage Island.
I mean,
We're
what,
currently in a 2080 agreement with the city of Ames.
Right.
They're just building new facility and they want
Right.
to create.
but they'd release us from that agreement.
We
We'd
have to
have a new
request
agreement.
Yeah, and I'm talking.
So there would be no
I'm saying
guarantee.
If Marshall County in 5 years says no, or 3 years, just like Boone did. And we re-sign back up with Ames at a later date.
There's no guarantee of that, but I would assume they'll always take an additional customer to lessen the burden on less. I'll tell you, Marshall County turned down the larger towns in the county. One other town, Nevada, tried to go to Marshall County and they said, no, thank you. And Story City signed right away with Ames, and Roland is gonna go to Marshall County, I believe.
Yep.
So they've been selective about what towns out of Story County they would consider.
That concerns me, I guess. I think you're saying that is positive. That concerns me that they're worried about their capacity also. They start looking at end life on theirs, they may say, nope, we don't need to help them out anymore. And admittedly, it sure sounds like Ames would be more expensive, but if we sign their 28 agreement. It's kind of cowardly on my part, but then the problem becomes theirs, not ours. Ames has to deal with the problem.
Well, but their problem then becomes whatever monetary amount they want they want it to be.
Yep.
We don't know the future, we can't predict the future, but we do know that we could lessen the increase in cost to the residents today by pursuing an agreement with Marshall and seeking as long of an agreement as we can get. We know that would lessen the financial burden to a resident here as a fact right now. Does that mean we know what we're gonna do with garbage in year 6 or 5, depending on the agreement? No, but we'll have to deal with that when we deal with it. But I think that's no different for everybody right now.
I think in 5 years, it would give us a possibility to reevaluate it. If we can guarantee a 5-year contract.
When I was there, their engineer was there and they were talking about capacity and it wasn't that there was an issue with volume. But they were concerned about the larger communities,
Decreasing.
getting there sooner than they really anticipated.
Well, that and the sheer numbers of dumps, I mean, the traffic alone. I mean, the number of trucks that a larger city would send over there versus us.
Yeah.
If the garbage haulers are currently on board with going with Marshall County, I'm good with that. But I would like to see a longer contract. 5 to 10 years would be great. And then it would probably also be wise to see Ames and just say, hey, if this falls through, what is our options? Just to make sure we have a backup plan. But hopefully we won't have to worry about it till 5 years. Minimum.
Yeah, I think Story County needs a backup plan, because what if they start trucking it over there and Carol says you're out?
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty big deal for Story County. That's why it's been in the news so much. Seek a longer agreement. We don't, he indicates that essentially 5 years is like their window of thinking based on the note you have here, Jerry. Next 5 years and per capita case would go up, but let's verify that, Jerry, and then we'd obviously, any agreement that's executed would come back to this council to be signed and approved, but we just want to, that's the direction. Let's go at this, Marshall. Let's indicate we're interested. We want to be there, get terms defined so that we have something to actually act on. So that's the first part. Jerry, do you need a motion to do that? You want a motion to do that? I want to separate the recycling because there's no requirement that we have to do anything with recycling. The benefit of doing recycling,
We need to do.
if we go to Ames, there's not a requirement through Marshall. There's a contractual requirement from Marshall County to have a recycling program?
From state, isn't it?
Where's the contractual requirement
Well,
for
through
recycling?
the DNR, every community needs to have a recycling program. We essentially have something going right now with cans and glass.
We have that whole.
We are doing something
What we have over there.
on first.
For our can recycling, but we only do that because that raises money for,
Well, we're doing it.
Well, but Ames used to be a recycling and now they're not gonna be, right? So
Well, they will.
they wanted all the garbage because they burn it.
We'll be doing recycling.
Okay, so if we went to Ames, we would already cover that, but saying we're not going to Ames, we have to come up with our own recycling program for DNR.
We have that in writing.
Well,
But could it be
From
what
the
we have
DNR?
right now?
Yeah, beyond what we already have, or.
I just want to clarify like what's required and what's a recommended, it's a good citizen move to do it. Cause I want to act on what we have to do contractually right now and kick the recycling thing. Because I'm not so sure that there isn't other.
yeah, we can kick it. It's part of our responsibility. And
Yeah, but
I can, I'll provide the evidence, but
I just want to know where it's required. And then the other thing is, I know for a fact there's people out there that will do better rates than anything listed on this page because the city of Ames request was so ridiculous. They had to provide upfront with cash every can to every household. And so any of these bids were uncompetitive because, and several did not bid on that because they said, we're not going to bid on this because we're not going to eat $2 million out of day one by providing everybody a can that the city of Ames owns day two. So I know there's a more competitive bid process. If we want to pursue recycling, my recommendation is we do our own RFP, seek
which is part of the
responses,
recommendation.
is what I would say.
The Metro Waste Authority is offering $8 per household. Or we could do drop off can for $100 a month.
So what we're doing now doesn't fulfill DNR's requirements, is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're telling us?
Well, with Ames, we are meeting our requirements, but it looks like we're breaking away.
If we
from
go to
that.
Marshall, then what we have is not
That would be solid waste, and then
fulfilling.
we need to work on a recycling program.
I'm good with working on the recycling program, but I don't want to adopt a recycling program tonight. I don't want to pay for a recycling can at my house.
What complies? Cause I'm kind of with you. I think even if people are willing to pay for it, we have such a habit of not separating our waste streams in Slater that I think it'll be a hard change to make. So is having a recycling dumpster, does that count? What do we have to do at a minimum?
I think there's an overall reduction requirement of like 50. Reducing the amount of solid waste that's being brought to the landfill.
I'd just like more detail about that, and I know you've worked on this a lot.
Monitoring and whatnot. I don't know that there's.
Well, that's my
Police,
question
how
is,
much enforcement there is, that I don't know, but.
I had a council member that used to serve here that I saw today that told me one of their biggest regrets was that they bended at the knee to the DNR's requirement before they challenged and really investigated and understood the penalty of not on a significant project here in town. And that's the single greatest regret of that person on all their time serving on council. I don't want to make that same one, even though the scale is much smaller. I want to make the garbage move and do the investigation, and I'd like to allow the continuation of recycling requirements to be investigated, but I don't want to go further than that right now. In my opinion, you're the council, you act, you vote.
Marshall County might already have that understanding or think that we are gonna have to have.
They'll tell us that.
They might already be assuming because all their communities already have it.
I'm tipping my cards, but I want to know what the bare minimum is. So I think it's human nature, but we're so used to not serving our garbage in Slater. I don't know how many people will.
But we're the oddballs in Story County.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm talking Slater only since we've never had to recycle.
But you also don't want,
Story County has-
but you also don't want the city of Slater to come in and say, you have to start recycling and you have to.
So
The residents don't want
have
that.
have a recycling program.
They don't want that forced as an ultimatum on them. They want the option to do that.
Single hauler of doing everything. Then you only have one truck or X trucks in town 1 day a week.
I get that, but
So if you really want to throw it all out there, that's fine.
I get that. And I appreciate that, Chad, but I don't want
Want more information on the site?
to, yes,
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Can we move on now?
with a motion
I so move that we get more information
and the Marshall County.
and that we move forward, Marshall.
Yeah, second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Moving on to the next item. This is the item related to a bid here from some Rouses. This is a traffic study. This is an idea for you of what a traffic study looks like, what it indicates, does. This traffic study would be required if the barbecue restaurant chooses to proceed and begin construction. We'll have to conduct the traffic study. The DOT has indicated in writing that where and how the places would be. They verbally indicated some things related to like, there's formalities you have to go through to get the access point. This is the formality. That you have some estimated costs or ideas in there. There's some other people that have given some figures.
But we're not specifically going with it.
We're not, I'm asking you guys, I'm giving, this is an information thing because again, I would not ask this council to spend the money in a due diligence period.
But
You
we're
want
under
that?
the impression that we'll be getting more than one bid to convince the trackers.
We have two of them currently right here in your packet.
Right.
If we needed to do another, we were supposed to be getting one other one, I thought, from
the engineer.
the one other engineer. So
So is this where you need a motion to table this item?
Table.
I'd like to make that motion.
thank you.
Second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This is the Porth property, the request to waive subdivision plating requirements.
Right, they want to submit a platted survey. It's the arts ordinance says that if it's less than 3 or less. Proposed lots being created. And there's public infrastructure, which there is water and sewer, that they can submit a platted survey instead of a subdivision plat. And so that's what's being requested. That they submit a platted survey instead of residential, proposed subdivision plat.
I make a motion that we approve the waiver of the subdivision.
And it was supported by planning and zoning commission.
Second.
I have a second. There's a discussion point.
Yeah, well, partial S makes a lot of sense to me. It's already right there at the homestead. I'm not quite sure about partial T. Until we know how things can be laid out better. I don't know what part, why they're sectioning off through that.
They're sectioning it off from a cash perspective for the seller. It's been set. Go ahead.
Mike Porth.
Mike, good to meet you.
So, they're sectioning it off for, what do you call it, tax
Capital gains.
capital gains. He wanted enough time to find another property to sell that. Originally, it was gonna be just 5 acres.
Okay,
So Corey just asked if I could do, we do 1 point. Jerry, what is it, 1.22, and then the other 3.78, when they find ability to transfer that capital gains to another property.
Property zoned ag. And
Yeah.
the use is gonna stay ag. They're
And we're gonna
proposing
change
to
the
build
zoning,
an
correct?
accessory storage of like farm equipment.
And you have how it lays out on
yeah,
that
that's,
next page.
that's made sense. I just couldn't figure out T and.
Yeah, that's the only reason it's separated is he was kind enough to say,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll agree to help you out, Corey.
I can't remember what.
Yep.
Ag tax.
No, I just appreciate the explanation. When I see something I don't understand, I want to understand before I say yes.
You can't sell it until he has 18 months to reinvest the exact same thing in similar property.
Perfect. Do you just, I think you shared the long-term intent is to have a building out there at some point.
On the smaller.
Kind of building a building, the long-term intent, yes, and agriculture of some type between trees, plants. But we gotta understand what Syngenta will let us know for pollination. Reasons with their seed call.
Perfect. Both motions have been received. I'm gonna call the vote. Is all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
I,
Opposed? Thank you. Thanks for waiting through all that.
Hey.
We appreciate it.
Maybe tired.
Son and daughter-in-law are Slater residents.
Yeah, right. And originally, they were gonna buy it, but for personal reasons that Lindsay knows about.
Perfect. Moving on to the next section, we waived that. Independent structural analysis for WHKS engineers for the wastewater treatment plant building.
Right, we got our city attorney involved in looking at the issue with the wastewater treatment plant building. He looked at the assessment that was done by the insurance carriers, forensic engineer. And determined that it would be wise if the city had their own structural engineer to do their own assessment. And so we reached out to several different firms and only received one response back from WHKS. With a quote of, I think it's $12,000 to do an independent assessment of that building.
how it was constructed, the current condition. And, we also reached out to the general contractor and actual builder to inquire if they would support the city in paying for the structural engineer assessment. And today I did receive something back from Gross Wind indicating that they would share the cost at 50%. So they paid 6,000 if the city paid 7,000.
This exercise would be to rebuttal the insurance company's response to denying the wind damage claim to the greenhouse. The attorney was recommending this as an action that we take. Don't expect everybody to know the insides of this because this has been a mess that we inherit that I was sworn into, that I didn't know I was sworn into. There was a tornado that hit the small tornado. We believe that the wind damaged the greenhouse, long story short. Insurance company came in, evaluated it. Yeah, we agree. Then they sent this high-end professional who came out and said, wait a second, requested all this information, used things like micrometers and things to measure, and just ended up getting some information, came back in the report and said the building was not built to spec of certain materials or panels in that. And the manufacturer, the builder of the greenhouse, Growspan, states, no, we disagree with that assumption. And there was some wind calculations and stuff, right? A big engineered report. They declined the insurance claim because the insurance loss is less than the deductible that we would pay. The deductible is a percentage of the total building value. The building is a $9+ million building. The deductible is 1% or $95,000. They say, even though your claim is greater than that, we're denying most of your claim because it wasn't manufactured to the specs of the actual panel that is on the greenhouse. Okay, the clear panels, they were the design holding them was not spec'd, is what they say. We're at a point where that's the insurance company's stance. If we want to rebuttal that and push that, we need to determine where we go on that, and that is the attorney says you could go get your own independent third party one and go and do a battle with the insurance company over that. I've had a little bit of heartburn about, is it our duty to prove that it was spec'd wrong or built, is it our duty to prove that, or is it the person who put it up's duty to prove that? And I don't know where to go from here. You end up in,
They're not gonna take this engineered report and say, nah, we don't believe this.
this would not be for the Growspan people. This would be to go to the insurance
I
company.
understand that.
The next stage is legal. That way, the other alternative is going legal the other way. Or this is your effort to try to rebuttal one engineer's report on the insurance company, and that's what the attorney said you would, regardless of if it goes legal, this step is gonna come up probably. I don't like spending this money. I think somebody else should have to pay for this
The
that
building
built
was
it.
constructed in like 24.
Grosswind wants to contribute to this out of good faith, they're stating in their email. And I was sat at a meeting with them, and I do think it's a very amicable, good meeting, but the other factor is at that time, there's a fact that administration at that time was against and did not recommend pulling building permits, processing certificate of occupancies. And so unfortunately, that that structure never had a building permit pulled through the city of Slater, which means safe building never inspected it, which means there was never a certificate of occupancy. And so there's a unique challenge there. So we sit at a point where that building has $213,000 in repairs needed, $200,000 in repairs needed, and nobody wants the buck.
It's 200 grand in repairs, but 400 if they do it correctly.
360 or something if they do. FEMA is also in play because this was a disaster. There's a FEMA covered disaster. We've tried to work with them, Mark before my time, Jen before my time. We've gotten to a point where FEMA will cover the replacement of this if the insurance company denies it, potentially. They'll also cover enhancements or improvements that's greater mitigation to make it more resilient. We've got an issue with the quotes, the way Growspan's giving them, but the whole thing's getting a little queasy and the whole thing's, because now Growspan's nervous and it's just, I don't even know where to. This is where we're at. This is what the attorney recommended. if we need to plan a special meeting to exclusively get some more facts and sit down about this and decide the right move, then maybe that's the action we need to take. I don't know. Staff, I would say, has exhausted the avenues they feel like they have. I'm at a point where I feel the same way. And I think it's driven us to a point where council needs to make a decision on what the move is. I don't know that we want to, if council's compelled that they want to talk deeper about attorney's involvement, I would say that I would like to determine whether that could be in a closed session scenario versus this, because I don't want to go into that discussion in public setting. And if that's the way council feels and they're not ready to act on this, guidance is appreciated.
The whole thing may be moved. I think it's the typo. Nick said it's 2 years, but he put a 3-year window in this. The last sentence. May of 23 to May of 26. That's 3 years. He said we got 2. That's a typo. It's 24, right?
What's that thing say right there? 23. Doesn't it? Right at the top?
Let's say 23.
So if we only got 2 years, we're at 3. I'm reading his last paragraph.
Where are you at?
The email from Nick, starts with final at the bottom.
Am I missing the paper?
I got that one.
I don't,
Jerry sent the email or forwarded the email.
Oh,
you got an email. Sure.
The lawyer, Nick Grohl.
Nick.
okay.
It was copied in the package.
Well, you're right, but they're not denying the claim based on the filing date.
Oh, okay, that's all.
They're denying I think the majority of the denial of the claim is,
Well, Nick was saying we got 2 years, and I thought maybe he meant 24 versus 26.
I think it's 12 months is what you have to file an insurance claim after the loss.
Yeah.
There is a clause typically that says from identifying the loss.
Nick said 2 years, and he listed 3 years.
It was an email. It sounds like that Jerry forwarded, right? How did council get this one?
Email, I forwarded to him.
It was in the packet.
Not in my bag.
It's not in my packet.
Just forwarded email.
Yeah, it's in the link.
The link,
in the
yeah,
link,
the
it's
one-
not
It was in the folder in the link, okay.
Not in the PDF.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It is mostly because it's, privileged document.
Right.
So I didn't interpret the denial letter as being, and council would be welcome to see that, but not as denial was because the filing date, although the claim never did get filed on direction of our broker that is in writing. And that's why they did open a claim and look into it. I believe the majority of the denial is because specifically ties back to the wind speed that their engineer determined was like 55 miles an hour wind that day, 58.
Agreed.
And that the panels should have been, if built to spec, should withhold and upstand that. So I don't know that that's a contingent factor.
Understand all that. I'm just going based on what he said. He said you got 2 years, and the 2 years expires in 2 months. That's all I was looking at.
And so where are you coming at that from? Help me.
That if May of 26 is what he meant versus May of 25. Because his math,
But for what purpose? To do what?
to do anything according to him.
But they've already denied a claim, so we don't need a filing window. We've already filed the claim and they've denied it, so that's for a claim window, right?
Is this out of the warranty is what you're saying? Out of
Yeah, he's
the-
talking about a claim.
A claim with
Claim
the
against
EMC. He's saying it's 2 years. Nick is the he I'm referring to.
So you have 2 years to file a
It's a claim.
claim,
Right,
not to
and he
settle
said-
it. We filed it.
Okay.
Claim against CMC.
Well, he's the one saying that we have a time crunch. And it has to be done.
It
by-
must be brought within 2 years, which it's already been brought.
Okay. Because
And
he's
denied.
Right.
So it's been denied. Can we reach into FEMA or you guys have it?
Well, we're trying, but I'll tell you what, you don't wanna be in the FEMA process now, and you don't wanna be in the FEMA
Right.
process under this current administration. And that's not a political statement, that's just,
Right.
it's
just reality.
scrutinized,
Yeah.
spending is scrutinized.
Yeah.
FEMA's a part of that, wrong
Yeah.
or right.
Right. Yep.
Um, so,
I agree, Taylor. It's a shame to throw good money way after bed, but if they're investing 6 more grand to potentially get 200 or 360 grand back.
I mean, there is a chance still, Jerry's filed everything with FEMA, to your knowledge, and confirm.
Okay, so that-
There's still a chance that FEMA could come through and save us on one of the sides, but They didn't like the way the mitigation quotes were written and Grossman wouldn't change them, and so at a minimum, it's looking like it'd just be replacement with like kind. So you're suggesting that we just spend the $6,000 out of the sewer fund or whatever and
Yeah.
do it? Get to work on it?
Concerns are definitely valid.
Oh, I'm frustrated with it.
Good money away.
I'm frustrated with it.
Typically.
Apparently the way that was also done, I've never seen the construction documents, so I'd be careful, but there isn't clarity on who the general was on the greenhouse.
This is a very good point that the design was wrong, that the builder built it correctly, but build it to the design. But
The builder was the designer,
Oh, they're one of the same. Okay.
is my understanding
All right.
There's questions about whether or not they followed the design guidelines.
of the materials. It's all about the panel.
So do you want approval of the $6,000 today to move forward?
That's what.
Is that what you need?
Right?
That's what Craig is motioning at. It's up to you guys. I don't think we should have to pay anything. I don't think we're at fault of anything, but
Yeah, that's how these things go.
I don't know what you do.
That's how these things go. We had some church with our buildings. It's about fun.
Unless you want to have a conversation and look at if we can have a closed session conversation before spending the $6,000, we could look into
And
that.
we'll continue with FEMA too.
That's not gonna stop.
We've spent 24,000 on getting it back to like condition or this, as it was constructed with the repairs that we've had to do. And they're gonna reimburse us for most of that, them in the state.
If they approve us.
8%.
Well, we either spend the 6,000 or we continue to fight to find somebody else to pay that amount, right?
Or we consider another avenue. Via closed session, hopefully, if that can legally be done. With council present, probably for that.
Which is just gonna end up bringing us back to this probably.
Potentially. Potentially, I mean,
Craig, did you make that motion?
Yes, yes.
I'll second it so we can move on.
To spend it.
Yep. I'm not sure what the other avenue.
anything else?
The only reason I'm saying is somehow get this thing moved forward.
All right, all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Russ? Russ?
Yeah.
I just was not gonna miss him on a vote just for the appearance of it.
One knock is this.
It's good. We'll go forward. I'm pretty sure I heard him say yes, but he was walking backwards that way. Moving on to the next one. Jerry, you good there? You got your direction?
Yep.
Request to transfer funds is where we're at,
Yeah, $10,142,
309.
to the 309 Library Community Center Fund. What was it?
They raised the
expenses
general
for Ragbri
concern
were taken out of the
about
library fund. We also used, there was a road improvement on First Avenue and the 309 fund was used.
Yeah, so
We're
the
trying to make that whole.
the 309 fund started out with a negative with the 5,000 from Manette's for a sidewalk project. So Jen never street project, she never created a new fund for this project, the library.
It was an old fund that was repurposed,
Yes,
you're
yeah.
saying?
And then you got the pass-through money from Ragbri that went into the general fund and did not go into the 309, and all the expenses were paid out 309.
So wait a second, you're saying. Where did the profit from all the Ragbri activity go?
309.
Profit. He's saying profit.
They sold things, they did
Yeah, all the
things.
money went into the 309 fund.
The
Okay.
Friends of the Library did like all the planning and the event activities on the day of the event. So they're asking to be made whole for what they did there.
But did they profit from the event? Did they make money off of the event?
I'm sure they probably did.
And did those funds come back into the city account or did those go into an external account?
The 309 fund. They're in that library and community center fund. But the
Do we know that
309
as a fact,
fund
Greg?
paid for the porta potties and all that too.
As I understand it, so I've been trying to keep arm's length from this. The Ragbike committee, whoever it is, paid the city $5,000. The city council said yes, and Joel, this was back in your day, said yes, we're going to support the rag ride coming through Slater. And so the $5,000 went to the city. All of the expenses for that went to the 309 account.
Correct, all the revenue and expenses.
But the profit that they generated selling stickers and all
You,
that stuff went to, if that went to 309 or went to the.
that went to the 309. So as a
Okay.
pass through, you are given $5,000 from Bragg. That went into the general fund, but it should have went into the 309 fund.
Were there
So-
all city expenses though, that
It
did
all came out of the 309 fund.
That you can track.
everybody's additional expenses?
Mhm.
Whether
That you
it
can
be
track.
sweeping the streets or clean up or.
Oh, I don't know about sweeping this, like doing that. But the porta potties, that's the big expense.
So 4,005,
Came out of that.
59620 from general fund were expenses for Ragbri.
Mhm.
That says the expenses are from general fund.
So all this money, that 314,000 is all money that they've raised and separate and doesn't include other funds?
Yeah, so 314,000 is the money that is given from, I think there's $180,000 city contribution.
There's rollover contributions at the end
contribution.
of the capital funds left over after operating budget. Or local, a lot of people say local sales tax. I don't really know how you track the dollar.
And then before the foundation got created, all the money came here, donations, contributions. The money from the community club went into the 309 fund for the property, purchase of the property.
There's a significant amount of that would be part of our larger capital bucket.
Mhm.
The same way that rollover funds from other departments are more of like the capital bucket. There is a portion of that that would be those same similar funds in there. I don't know how much of what is there. I think the library, Jen Goger's team has done a good job of keeping record of what they thought it was,
And they were around 314. So
is what they think the total should be.
yes,
But that's not, some of that total is private outside donation totals.
Yep.
Some of that is taxpayer funds
correct.
earmarked for that project at that, back in the day. It's not 100% donation. It's not 100% guaranteed their money necessarily. The intent by council's action in the past was to commit this for the future use for this. The same way that the fire department got future funds designated for a future fire truck purchase or capital outlay. These were, some of these funds are like capital outlay funds that the council outlaid for the capital project.
You met with those guys more than I did, but I thought they said that this was well, you and I did it once. I think, and they said, this is excess, what are we gonna do with the excess? And it was a council motion to put that to the library, whereas the rollover funds are different. Cause the library has a rollover fund also that would be more like the unspent balance from other budgets.
Well, she probably doesn't have a rollover account, right? Cause she
Actually,
didn't,
Jen did.
she didn't
I don't know how
put,
much is in it. I've heard them talk about it.
Yeah.
Talking about that.
Yeah,
We're talking about taking the money from general fund and putting it through 309.
yeah.
Yeah, 10 grand.
10 grand is all we're
That
talking
whole-
about here.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the transfer of the 10 grand.
There's a resolution, it's resolution 40.
I'm good with that. I would ask maybe that we could get a clear audit or a definition or audit of what the source of all those funds that are in that fund as well, since it's a topic.
Well, if you can, you really cannot mix tax dollars with private dollars, because the private dollars. They should have never been commingled.
Yes,
Correct.
which that is, this account is that, so let's have Lindsay audit that. And if she needs to create a new account to separate it for clarity moving forward, even if there's tax dollars that were pledged towards the project through action, let's get clarity on what amount that is
Okay.
by separating the funds.
Because the private dollars, they could take and reinvest somewhere else where the tax dollars they couldn't.
But we can't legally transfer that money outside of the city is what we've been told in the past. We can't move that money, even though it's private given to us, we can't move that to the Friends of the Library to be invested that way. We have to keep it in-house, but I do think we should separate those two in some mechanism, so there's clarity and we know what the source was, what's private dollars, put it in one account that we know is private, exclusive, guaranteed. These were the taxpayer funds dedicated towards the project. That we have that separation and clarity. Because I do think there's a valid point that if we took rollover funds back and things like that, these funds are not necessarily they don't have to be guaranteed for a specific project. That's a discussion point with the capital discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, if nobody else is able to roll over dollars, fire EMS, everybody else, into their, what historically was capital.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no reason the library should be able to do the same.
I don't think they're trying to by any means. I think this is just the way it's always been done. And I think what this council committed to is like looking at all the available funds for capital projects, even if they've been verbally earmarked to something in one bucket. And to then pledge those as needed for projects. So let's get the clarity on that. Would you amend your motion to that, Julie?
Yes.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This is the resolution now you guys want us to pass? Or are we valid that we just passed that? The transfer?
We're good.
You're good, all right.
Yeah. The motion.
The mural thing, Barry, go ahead.
Mural committee is requesting $10,000 from the city for a grant that they're proposing to submit. It's a match grant. There's a 321 Main Street mural.
You've received a fabulous photo of what that looks like. No, the mural's right here.
Yeah, but is this it?
That's from Iowa State.
Okay,
Students.
good.
The mural, as I've seen it described, and I've seen a better drawing of this. There is, what you can see is, do you see on it, there's railroad tracks kind of, the Historical Society helped this. Effectively, there's a winding trail that kind of winds back and forth. And along that trail, it's a railroad and it goes back into Slater's history and has iconic moments or things in Slater's history with contribution by the Historical Society. In the year when the bike path comes, it transitions from appearing as a railway into a bike path and continues with markers in our history and identifies projects. Sean Palak is the designer, is kind of the artist behind it. The Historical Society led with, I haven't participated in any of the meetings, but Nastia has championed this and ran with it. This came out of, we have an opportunity to put an iconic mural at a main downtown intersection. It could be a really neat opportunity. While we own the building and we control whoever that building ends up with, we can contractually require that mural be present there.
That's gonna be my question. What's to stop somebody coming in and painting over it?
We would since we own the building and the transfer of that, we could.
Would this drive somebody away from buying the building? You wouldn't think so. It would be a neat piece.
I sure don't think so, but if it turns out horribly, yes, but I don't think so.
That's why we're selective on who we work with on leasing it or.
Which side of the building is it on? The east?
It'd be on the west.
Oh,
The RFP you just received is proposing a mural on the east side.
that's what I thought. Okay.
We're in a control position where if we want that to be a centerpiece of artwork in our town, we have control to do that right now and then to require it.
Since we have ownership.
For a certain period of time, probably.
I
At
think
the
it's better
transfer.
on a coffee shop.
You have to figure that one out on.
I have something to say about that.
At the moment, we're pledging a $10,000 in support, not to be guaranteed spent, but to show that we're offering the 10,000 as the match for the 10,000 for the grant. If the grant fails, we don't have to spend that $10,000 to move forward, right?
Well, if it gets approved, you would.
You would.
Right. And the source would be.
But it also could be less than 10,000 because she's asking for donations from businesses. So could be less.
Be a little bit concerned with putting on a building that we're trying to sell myself, but I know it's a neat piece. It theoretically should look cool. I don't see anything, but I don't know. If we're trying to get rid of the building, I think you want invest more to it. I'd just be nervous, what if they don't want it on there? Then you just drove somebody away. I mean,
Does
the
the
RFP,
on there? Is it good for the town?
I mean, the RFP alone just had, we previously seen, they already have a mural on it.
They're recommending one on the east side, some welcome to Slater thing or that, but
Yeah,
we haven't evaluated that or looked at that or know if that'll even happen. I think that's a valid question is, do we think the town wants it? Is it good for the town? If that's the case, then we have the ability to make that movement.
I like it. I think that huge brand new wall represents a perfect place for us to make a statement like that.
This ISU committee group, where it was, they did several recommendations.
They're all sitting right over there.
Okay, so this is one of them, or this is the
Well,
only
this is
one?
totally separate.
Oh,
This was this was ironically already in motion by
Oh,
not
right.
via before
Okay.
their recommendations came back and they had multiple mural recommendations.
All right. I
No
just didn't know if this was
locations, but
the one.
concepts.
Okay. I got AJ same concerns about, is this what they want? But I guess I can live with those as long as we sell / rent, we swear with the building, as long as we say it's gotta stay there for a reasonable amount of time. I don't know how long a mural lasts.
The reason
I
the
hate to
city,
throw $10,000 or $20,000 away and next week it gets painted over.
Yeah,
the city invested in the building because the building's important and we rescued it. And I think the reason to invest further with $10,000 toward that is for the same reasons. And I do think it would be reasonable to expect that there'd be a clause or something in the agreement with whoever would lease the building that's gotta stay, or it's gotta stay for 20 years or something like that.
I can't remember, do we have a motion on the floor yet or no? We don't know.
No. We're looking for one.
Hasn't the council had previously done, quote money, or not quote money, but grant money like this and put a timeline on it, had to be for approval and stuff like that? Did Sean have one of those motions for the library last year or year and a half that they pledged so much money, it was within a certain time frame, the grants had been granted or received or anything like that?
well, we know the project timeline, so you could put that, yeah, we make this pledge for those funds through this date. I mean, they want to paint the mural this summer. Is that
I'm
right?
just saying that, I mean, Jerry's saying it's spent if this motion goes through. I'm just also thinking that if they don't get their grant, then you need that $10,000 allocated to it.
No, we just pull that back through action. We just pull that back through another motion. If they said, hey, the grant failed, we could say, okay, I'll make a motion to bring the 10 grand back or to not spend, to reallocate the 10 grand back to the general fund or.
I'd be in more support of it if you had a possible RFP that said, yeah, I love the idea, let's go with it. If you're trying to sell a building, that's a whole nother, I mean, you gotta maintain that, clear coated, all sorts of things.
That's what this finished product would be.
So I mean, now you're passing that buck on to somebody else. Hey, you gotta maintain this for 20 years. You want it on your building or not? I'd rather have somebody say, yeah, I want the building and I want the mural. I don't know.
If you do that, you have the chance that they say, nope, I don't want any of that.
That's exactly right. What if that drives that person away?
We've never tried to list it for sale, but I guarantee if it went on the market tomorrow, there'd be 25 bids for it and it'd sell regardless of the mural or not the mural. That's just my opinion, AJ. I don't think the mural is going to steer somebody away or to it. Would it be a dang, I wish I could have done my own mural there? Maybe, but I guess that's the situation we're in, is we can kind of decide what it looks like and what it pays homage to or that. But it's not an invalid point, but I don't think somebody's gonna look and say, I'm never gonna put my business there because that mural is there. But there's always a risk to that. It's gonna drive people there is what it's gonna do, is bikers and people. It's gonna create more traffic probably there. I would think is the objective.
Easy and fairly inexpensive way to make a real impact on our main street.
So why don't you give me a motion then? You're supportive.
Motion to approve it.
Second.
Any last comments for anybody? All right, all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Abstentions. All right, where'd we get to? Now we're down to,
No, we have one more resolution.
we need to go to 2 meetings a month.
Oh,
though.
set the public hearing for the budget.
Resolution 41, setting public hearing adoption of fiscal year 27, April 20th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Moving into the next item, we are gonna go into a closed session right now, right?
Right.
We're good? Yep. Well, no, we go into the closed session and then we come out and then we adjourn.
Amending this.
So what I do need though is a motion to go into closed session.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I can take a minute or two.
Yeah.
I guess my concern is with I have questions about the barbecue place. Okay, we're saying, okay, we give you $200,000. They came in with a package and said, it's gonna have 300 spaces. And we said, we're gonna draw in all these bikers and that's gonna be a put on, spot where people put on the trail at, and they can stay there and park there and stuff. And then come back this meeting and it's like, well, it's been put down twice on how much is needed. I don't know how many is needed. But then they're like, well, it's a private property. We don't have to do anything. I asked her right after she said that, I said, well, how many spaces does it have right now? And she's like, I don't know. I don't have paperwork with me. The impression I get from her, she damn well knows what the spaces are on it right now. We're rolling over and giving her a lot on this big promise. I mean, aren't we doing trail access and all that type of stuff?
It's a big investment.
I think we need to,
And tax rated.
I think we need to it's your guys' responsibility, make sure you're doing due diligence on that.
That's fair. There was a major pullback.
Here's the golden apple that we promised. Are we gonna get I mean, 'cause let's be honest, I mean, she's probably gonna come in here and build the business out, sell it in 5 years.
That's already been addressed. The due diligence has been done on that stuff.
Yeah.
We did put some teeth in it from an agreement perspective to try to protect. And I think the other thing to remember is when we do these type of agreements, we address them all independently from an economic development and a council perspective, based on funds available, when it's available.
And I'm not
Economic,
saying that stuff isn't going, I guess,
Yeah.
it's just my concern that came in and that was it.
we're in a due diligence period
And there
now.
was there was only one question on that.
Yeah,
And they came back with, we don't have to give you any space, it's a private place. And it's like, no, hold it, you said this is what you're giving us.
and I
You're
think,
only giving us this now?
well, I think the standards are in the language, which is the valuation of the building has to meet a certain point and they have to create so many full-time jobs. Otherwise, that loan
We
isn't
still have to
forgiven, it's
get a
paid.
full information and go through other steps that we have chances to look at.
So, I guess I just asked more consideration being something like that, considering, like, I don't know, I've only been a resident here for a few months. And to me, it sounds like that whole wastewater treatment facility was maybe not the best idea ever. With the problems with it and stuff.
Yeah, I think that was well before almost everybody on this.
And I realize that, but.
Yeah.
I
And
guess
thank you for.
As a
being
resident,
voice of it. It's important.
Yeah,
I don't wanna see stuff just brushed off or like, oh, can we get on to the next topic and stuff like that? There's a lot of questions to be asked on that. I mean, that's $200,000. That's all of our money. And plus whatever else it
Yeah.
is,
I'd be glad to follow up on the backstory with you and tell you all the details that we've gone through to get to where and how we're protected on the investment if we execute it the way that it was designed.
Yeah.
I'm happy to walk anybody through that anytime.
Yeah, I mean, I guess and I'll be honest, I mean. It makes me nervous when I've talked to her so far. Like I asked her last meeting about is Madrid really that much better of a spot? And she's like, oh yeah, or not Madrid, yeah, Madrid for the restaurant. She's, oh yeah, it's tons better. And I'm like, well, why are you building it here then?
Yeah, and we've had that discussion with her. The traffic numbers are significantly better on that location than what they are ours, but the difference is
The trend.
you gotta, I think the other factor too is business people are business people.
Yeah.
And so,
I guess on a project like that, I don't wanna be, here's what we're promised, here's what we end up getting.
we know what we're gonna get.
Huh?
We know what we're gonna get, worst case scenario.
It's gotta be worth.
We know what we're gonna get, worst case scenario. We do know that, and it's all been evaluated based on
That's
it.
why it's a big, to me, that's a.
I don't at all, because here's the thing, a 300 car parking spot, there's never gonna be 300 people in a 10,000 square foot
I
restaurant.
agree with that. But just to say, well, we're not gonna put as many in there, and then for them to say, well, we don't have to give anybody.
But who's disadvantaged by a smaller parking lot in a scenario like that? The public or the restaurant owner? The restaurant owner. So it's to spite their own face if they choose to do a smaller parking lot, as long as they meet the minimums required. It's not a public parking lot. Like, if I'm in her shoes, I feel the same way, in the sense that, why do I want to build a parking lot where everybody parks their car and leaves for 7 hours? Now, if she's thoughtful, she'd want to design that, but again, this is more of like, we're very loose. This is very loose. This isn't the avenue or the spot for this type of dialogue. But I would gladly have that conversation offline, one-on-one or in a group, and you're welcome to approach any of us to get our perspectives on that. We don't want it to ever feel like we're not being considerate, because I think this council tries very hard to be considerate and thoughtful in our
I'm not
funds.
saying that, but I'm just.
Yeah.
There's just some, I mean, to me, that was a red flag.
Understand. Appreciate the concern.
Now you can get.
We have to go in closed section.
We appreciate you being here.
We have another.
I agree with it, and then she came in and made a proposal at 300. And now that it's coming down to it, she's backing out.
But Joe, everything we did was never based on 300. We shared that information. We didn't have
I
to.
know.
We did that being more transparent than we needed to be. That was never a
That was the
requirement.
detail that was offered, and it was an incentive.
It was not an incentive based on parking spaces. It was a detail that was shared aggressively, and maybe I guess I should only share the minimum amount of information publicly.
The detail in the offer. Now the details changed.
That was not a detail ever in the offer, Joe.
Then where did the number come from?
The number was shared in the discussion.
Conversation that she had with us, that was preliminary. It really was.
Okay, but it's still in the conversation.
It was part of it.
It was never part of the agreement or the offer. So,
It was, helped us understand the scope of why she needed the amount of land and part of the project for other things. It'll be interesting to see what her building permit comes in as, and she's gotta give us a whole site plan yet. So we got a chance to look at it.
yeah,
We really do.
there's a lot of processes to protect us.
But it's, you make a conversation to sell of goods. And then after you've gotten agreements or start backing out.
It was never part of the offer or the agreement. It wasn't.
Part of the conversation.
We've had a lot of conversations about projects, Joe. You've been in them. They all evolve. We need a motion to go in closed session.
Motion will go in close session.
Second, then.
All those in favor signify the sign aye.
Closed session.